regenerating. No! 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 If you're trying to make a point, I'm not listening. I can't keep on being somebody else. Whatever it is, I'm staying.
And maybe you didn't need to be somebody else. Maybe you didn't need to be somebody else. Well, it's an almighty show tonight, everybody. Quite a lot to talk about. So, we're going to talk about this whole mess that we're in, with all this concern, whether all the content pumped out since Peter Capaldi added to canon, improved and developed and re-established Doctor Who, or the urge to just churn out content packaged as Doctor Who has ultimately weakened, reduced, and diminished it to the point that it is seen as lame, weak, toxic, open to ridicule and mockery. We have revelations from my TV producer media source, a real, authentic, genuine producer who has been in meetings organising whether to respond to the invitation to tender, has also been having informal chats with the BBC, because that's what you need to do. You need to suss out what they want. So it is those whispers and hints you will hear about tonight from his informal chats with the Beeb. I'm already concerned by the process. I mean, is it transparent? Is there a load of cronyism going on? Is it jobs for the boys? I mean, it's a shoo-in for the BBC studios, isn't it? Yes, the BBC will put out big IPs to tender in the future to look good and to look transparent. But if BBC Studios wins everyone, you have to wonder, what's it all about? And my media source will warn all Doctor Who fans to lower expectations in expecting great concepts for Doctor Who. I will reveal why later. So, if you're new to the channel or one of those battle-worn Sensorites, welcome. Remember to like and subscribe. Give us a hype later. It always takes a day or two. And please tell a friend. I'm a lonely lad here. So, let's get moving. Got a whole panel, don't you worry. So it's all teed up since RTD decided to tiptoe off to Channel 4 and pastures new. And here's the show. Why the Christmas special was cancelled. From the BBC whispers to my TV producer friend, I will reveal more. The plot dangers within that. The constant disregard for the fan base, Capaldi saying why he left, and then the big one, I saved the best to last, shocking revelations about the BBC plans for future Doctor Who from all those discussions my source has had. Lots there. Here's a taster. You know I always give you a taster. This will just get you salivating. This is what my media source said. I have been hearing about the reason why the Christmas special was cancelled, and I also found out that the BBC and RTD had fallen out big time. There's confirmation, because we've all had whispers. More of that later. So, there's the show. We're on the sense for you. What we need now is the panel, so let's get them on. We straight away, Sci-Fi Chronicles. Good to see you, John.
Good to see you, my friend. Hello, everybody in the chat. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be interesting.
Which one of that contents list are you really looking forward to?
Oh, it's got to be shocking revelations about BBC plans. I'm shivering as I speak.
We should know by now, shouldn't we?
We should.
And let's go across the pond. I mean, there's been a Germany match in Houston. He's not far away, up in Dallas-y area, isn't he? So let's have a look. Hello,
howdy.
Good
to be here. Good to be here.
And same question. Which one of those are you dying to hear more about?
Oh, the shocking revelations. I agree with John. As soon as I saw that up there, I thought, oh, I went cold. Something bad was in the works.
Well, that's good. I'm making you cold. It's hot over there. And big kind of trumpet fanfare. The red carpet's not out again. She knows the score. She's back. The queen of the walk, Rachel herself. Here she is.
Hello, chat. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, she's back. I insulted her so much by not putting a red carpet out, you see. But no,
I'll get over it. It's fine. I can only walk on one foot at the moment anyway, so we're grand.
Well, great to see you again, Rachel. Which one of those are you looking forward to?
Shocking revelations about the BBC plans, but I also am very interested as to what might have caused the BBC and RTD to fall out.
Well,
Is he blacklisted now? Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun.
Couldn't be a couple of series of Doctor Who by any chance, could it?
Maybe. Wild
All right.
rumors.
So here we go. Here we go. So let's get started. Christmas special 2026. So this is what my source was saying. And of course, I want to do a verification thing because people out there are saying, oh, sources don't exist. So I need to really get this ready. I'm going to be asking Christian and John a specific question just after my usual rapport with the source. So here we go.
YouTube is melting with everyone pondering, thinking, sweating over who is the source.
Be allowed to make contact with the source.
Prepare for access to the source.
Therefore, claim rapport with the source so that you may make your judgment.
So here we go. So my first question, of course, to you, John. Is my media TV producer source authentic and genuine? And how do you know? You can only tell us a tiny bit, but is he?
Yes, he is. And I do know that because I had to sign an NDA at one point. So, yes, I can confirm that is correct.
I think it's very important for those of you who want us to respect you as the viewers that we tell you this. Christian, is my TV producer source authentic and genuine?
Absolutely, yes. I had to sign the same non-disclosure agreement. So we are talking about the same person. This is a real human being with real insights.
And real interest in Doctor Who as well. Yes. Sorry for not asking you, Rachel, but honestly, you didn't sign any NDA because you weren't part of it, were you, at that point, right?
No, not at that point. No, I've been off the channel for several months, so...
So if everybody knows, that's why I've asked those two. And obviously, if you think, well, Rachel, but so that's as authentic and transparent as I can be. So the Christmas special, the chief content officer Kate Phillips and a couple of BBC execs, when looking at the script, and the plot for the RTD Christmas special, looked at what he has produced and done before, and thought, right, this is going to affect us putting it out to tender. So straight away, John, my other source, bit wibbly wobbly regarding how I can say things are reliable, but basically said possibly 7 or 8 pages of a rough draft. And after Tiptoe and after his memoirs, he was coming back to actually do it at speed, as RTD famously does. But they didn't like the ideas. They weren't pulling together. He said it was crap. And in the end, they just thought, oh. So when you see that, John, is this wise move, strategic move, clever move, or too much trust in this blooming same showrunner?
It's a wise move to pull it. And I said a couple of weeks back on your show that there needed to be someone with intelligence to actually look at this and go, you know what is the point of doing a Christmas special? We've got to look at the long-term sustainability of the show itself. And I think someone's done that because he's already done significant damage, in my opinion, possibly irreparable damage to the show. There would be no point in letting him have one last hurrah and potentially damaging the brand even further with one final story.
Yeah. And obviously we will talk about the rumors of what was in that plot, but there's also more from what the source has heard to and from with the BBC. So Christian, looking at this already so far, gosh, have the BBC suddenly had oversight, Christian? Suddenly decided, do you know what? This isn't too much of a good thing. We're going to stop.
I think they came to their senses. The unfortunate thing is the decision was not made before the airing of the War Between Land and Sea. Basically, a whole year has elapsed for them to come to a decision that they should have come to last June. Mm-hmm. And we'd be that much farther ahead in terms of the tender process being pursued. But in terms of what he was wanting to offer and the amount of damage that needed to be resolved, I think I went ahead and messaged you. you probably have to do a longer story, a 2-part, 3-part story, to try and effectively build up a logical, cohesive narrative that undid all the damage. They don't have that kind of time or money. So the easiest thing is just to let it lay fallow, put it out to tender, buy themselves a little time by default, and see if someone else will pick up the tab who can do a better job. But they came to their senses, thank goodness.
So lots to discuss. I will come to Rachel in a minute, don't worry. But at Thread, I will be joining you. Paul, 012, Doctor Who Needs a Rest, return in 23:30 with 25-minute episodes, cliffhangers, and 26 episodes a year, or if only. Well, actually, me and Christian have been talking about my next saloon content. It might be roughly on that topic. Rachel, they've actually decided not to do the Christmas special. Now, it's the first time I've asked you on here regarding the Christmas special announcement.
True.
So are you pleased they actually abandoned ship?
Yes. I'm glad. Get it gone. You know, like, I mean, I always think, you know, a change is as good as a rest, you know, and just put it to bed, let it lie down, and then figure out how you're going to change what was done and fix it, essentially. I'm not surprised that they've done this at all. When we didn't hear anything for a really long time, I knew it was a goner. I knew it was a goner in that sense.
And as Christian said, I was so peeved when they finally cancelled it, you know. I was so peeved that we've lost 8 to 10 months when they could have done the invitation to tender earlier. We're just losing time. So this is the opening gambit, everybody. My TV producer, friend and source, informal chats with the BBC, because let's face it, you're not just going to wait for the invitation formal letter of tender. You want to kind of feel them out. And so this is some of the discussion from that. So they looked at everything, weren't too happy. Here's a little bit more, folks. Let me get rid of the border because that's just a bit. 2028 to 2029 was the plan for the new series after going out to tender, and the Christmas special was meant to be the bridge. However, this special plot would have caused problems for the next creative team, so they thought we need to stop it. Now, isn't this, I mean, John, Christian and Rachel, this starts to pee me off. Can't RTD for once just do a story, what do we call it, a bottle story, where basically it's just within itself, it doesn't affect canon, doesn't affect mythology, doesn't faff with regeneration, gives us a bloody good story and just leave it alone?
He can't though, can he? He can't, because he has to infect something as he's going out with his ideology, so he cannot let it lie. He would have put something in there which would have caused problems. He doesn't care about the future of the show. He doesn't care about the legacy of the show. All he cares about is getting his message across, and that would have given him one last opportunity to do so. The fact that they've done this, again, as I said a few minutes ago, is a good choice to basically can it, because it would have caused more damage.
I would say, John, to follow up on what you're saying, he wants the last word.
Yeah.
He knows that if he puts out something that's neutral, that's actually neutral, maybe it doesn't correct everything and it does give us that fade to black so another team can start fresh. That's not the last word. The last word is imposing some kind of structure on incoming teams so they have to somehow do an end run around what he's created. He's deliberately wanting to put up hurdles if he's involved.
Yeah. Tony Farrell, you always ask good questions, and you know me, I'll try and answer. Yes, it's 2027 approximately was when the contract finished. They can buy it. They can buy themselves out of it, though. If there's urgency, if they really want Doctor Who on the TV, they could have done that. But the clickbait of the Billy Piper thing was obviously, as we know, he dangled a carrot, so they invite RTD back. And, of course, RTD couldn't deliver this time, so in the end they just cancelled and abandoned ship.
It's because he hasn't got anyone giving him the ideas of how to get out of it. They're like, no, don't want to know.
Do you know what, Rachel? It's because he relied so much on that Disney money for the CGI bone monsters, and Sue-Tech, Scooby-Doo and all that lot. Now he's got no Disney money. He thought, what else have I got left to do?
Just throw a spanner into the works, ruin it, make it difficult for the next person that comes in and takes over.
It did feel, I have to say, it sounds as though he was actually really, really digging in and doing wild stuff there. Phantom Cat, thank you very much. Jodie and Shooty have to be retconned.
Yeah.
Now, this is a big one, and this is where a whole debate could be had. Jodie and Shooty have to be retconned. A reboot would be a mistake. Geeks love continuity. I agree. Brendan mentions the Dallas shower fiasco, but there's a big difference. People were invested in Dallas. It was the biggest show on TV. You're right on so many points there, Phantom Cat. I think on my saloon the other day, I talked about a bit like the Dallas scene, that basically the bi-generation meant that you were having about 15 or 16 Patrick Duffys coming out the shower all at once, that they were all saved, and that was, disaster. But I get your point, Phantom Cat, and of course I always thank, me. So oh God, I know I should thank you properly. I won't.
With your good, I'll treat my wife to a blue rinse.
A blue rinse. I mean, gosh, do they still do those?
They're still around, the Hoopettes.
They are. They get around. They remember they were on our honeymoon. They get everywhere. Grant G, that pleases Grant G. Farsight, the best two options are shunt it into a separate timeline or retcon. This is what me and Christian were talking about. The saloon will be about this retcon reboot big argument, won't it, Christian? And absolutely. I can see what Phantom Cat is saying, and I am one of those. As soon as you break the linear approach of Doctor Who, you've broken it. Do we give it one more chance, or have we gone past that chance? Because Phantom Cat, in a way, is also saying we've gone past that point. We need to get rid of two of the Doctors. If you do that, you've broken the linear.
There was talk, and I did a video on this several weeks ago when I was a bit more active, that Sony were looking at the prospects of taking over, and something along those lines. Actually, don't quite quote me on that. I can't remember what I was saying now, but Sony were essentially going to be part of the picture and doing a big sort of reset and starting from the beginning or something. I don't know how true that is, though. I don't know if you heard that.
Sony are part of Bad Wolf in a way. Sony have got their fingers in.
Why would they do it?
pies.
It's because APC. Are they called APC? APC, the streaming service, have got the streaming rights to Doctor Who at the moment.
I think
it's
APC? Potentially for the catalogue. Or no, yeah, you're right. For the new Who stuff, I think maybe. I think for me, I totally agree with what was said in the chat. You need to get rid of those two Doctors because they are the problem. We all know it. The execs know it. It's having the guts to do it. And there are ways writers can do it without it costing a fortune. You can just quickly, a more intelligent writer than me could just say it was a parallel universe incident, and you can pick up from there.
That before, could this be like a parallel universe, that everything that was going on with Jodie and or something like that, or if it was all in the Doctor's head?
I thought that because not that I watched all of Jodie's era because I walked away, but when it first happened, when she came across the Time Lords for the first time, there was all that. Who's this fugitive? This roof doctor or whatever.
Yeah,
I thought to myself, this could easily be a parallel universe because it feels like a parallel universe. So you could get away with doing it that way, and then regeneration to Shooty, 14, and then Shooty could have been parallel, and you can easily fix it and then resolve it, and then wash it away after that. It's easily fixed, but it's having the will to do it. That's the problem.
Now, Mr. Wayne here. Good to see you, Mr. Wayne. Sorry, people calling for Shooty and Jodie to be retconned are howling at the wind. Get over yourselves. It will never happen, you big silly billies. Now, he's jesting in the fair. Right. Okay, let's just say Shooty's my least favorite Doctor, so I managed to kind of, sideline him into E-space.
Yeah.
Then you get another showrunner who says, actually, I can't stand the Pertwee years and he needs to be set. I don't know. I think once you set a precedent, my concern is the precedent is you could actually hide any of the Doctors. And I just think when we're arguing that we want linear, then aren't we actually breaking the linear by saying we're going to park them over there?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because obviously I personally don't accept Jodie and Shooty as canon. I just don't.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And it's fine if you like them, whatever. I don't mind. But just hearing you say that and like thinking about my least favorite Doctor, I wouldn't ask for that. I wouldn't.
No.
I'm not saying who my least favorite Doctor is. I'll get eaten alive.
Well, yeah, I look at it through the lens of whatever's done will probably have to be very simple. That is, there's a plot line in which alternate timelines or realities are discussed, and there's just a simple line, a simple hint dropped to the current Doctor of that moment that there were, in fact, offshoots. You never have to say it directly. It never has to be invited, but it plants the seed and it allows people to move on without having to build an entire structure. What happens if it's a decade before this comes back? How many people, other than the most dedicated fans, are going to remember the minutia of this damaged decade, this broken decade of production? Not many. And the new people that you want coming in are not going to be familiar with it at all. So you can't dump that on them.
Well,
So
Phantom,
put simply.
Phantom continues. Stuff in sci-fi and fantasy genre entertainment gets retconned all the time. It's no big deal. No one watched Jodie and Shooty, so no one will miss them. That is the argument. I mean, and that's why the argument is don't go back into Timeless Children and rectify it. Don't go back and sort out Rogue. Don't, because nobody watched it. So in a way, you don't need to kind of retcon them at all. In a way, I suppose the argument is if nobody watched them, just continue plowing on and don't mention them again.
I think the problem with that, though, is the fact that certainly when you talk about the merchandise stuff, like I've said before, I joke about it, but I always used to, as a tradition, my family would get me the annual Doctor Who calendar to put on the wall. And every month you have a Doctor on the page. And then obviously now permanently you have Shooty and you have Jodie Whittaker on there. That's the trouble. If they're still there, it's still going to be damaging to the brand, and people will not come back for it. That's the problem. They will not. And again, you've got to build a new audience. I get that, but you've also got to try and bring back a legacy audience as well.
Well, it's interesting, John, that what my media source was hearing from the BBC about who we're going to try and get audience-wise. So I'll park that for a second, just because tasty. Stefan, good to see you. We'll have to do another missing episodes one. I know you've had your holiday. The issue is, if they do this to these two Doctors, those actors will feel incredibly disrespected, and therefore relationships becomes damaged, not with the show, but more publicity for the BBC.
Tough.
Yeah. So the original plan was to get this series out earlier, and then the bridge was there, but of course the bridge is now gone, collapsed, and so now we're in big doo-doo. So what else did he find out about the Christmas special? Well, here we go. It was all about plot and mythology. The BBC decided not to go further into this mess. It was not a creative decision on its own. It was strategic, damage limitation to get new tenders out. The Christmas special would have left a big time bomb in the middle of the tender process. How are we supposed to address that? And honestly, John, I mean, he is a friend, and he was talking about this, and he said, honestly, what's the point of him investing money, having meetings, time, lunches, trying to get partners together, if a big bloody stupid time bomb is in the bloody Christmas special and they have to rectify that as part of the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, again, it makes no sense for you if you're an executive involved in the production of a franchise that it has tanked, essentially. It just doesn't. You're already in a difficult position because you're having to try and unravel what he's already done. Then to have something extra to unravel on top of it, it makes no sense creatively. So that's why they've done the right thing this time and pulled the plug on it. It's crazy.
Oh, Christian, plot and mythology. That's fan fiction, isn't it? That's fan service. Stop it. Do a story in a bloody light. I'll tell you for free. In a lighthouse, the Rutans come back. End of. Have a cast of about 6. And just keep it like that. We don't need all this nonsense with a triple regeneration and Susan coming back. Honestly, leave it alone.
Well, you don't want to spend your time filling the entire room with, what do they call them, Easter eggs, so you can't move around. You've got 60 minutes of time. And if you're spending all of these beats, you're interrupting the flow, you're interrupting the tension of the moment to plug in this Easter egg, that one, all in fan service. You're doing a disservice to the story overall. And again, what you're left with may definitely hobble whoever follows you, depending on how you want to resolve it. And again, going back to RTD's habits, he couldn't have helped himself other than to put in something that would strangle the next team following him. So you're not doing a story service. You're not doing something good for the IP, for the fans. You're not doing anything good for the BBC or an incoming team. It's better just to take the loss, put it to shelved, and move on.
You don't reckon that comes from anger by any chance, do you?
Oh, no. He's so above anger. He would never be petulant.
That one out there.
Rachel, wouldn't that go down as toxic masculinity?
Oh, yeah, sorry, it would. Oh, I'm cancelled. Oh, well.
Well, Rachel, I was just thinking, coming from your angle, I mean, you know what you like from your Doctor Who, and when you've watched it over the years, when you hear it had a lot of canon and mythology, is that making you go ding ding hooray, or is that making you go yawn yawn?
Pretty much yawn yawn. You know, maybe I would give it a go for the purposes of reviewing it only, but other than that, it's like I would probably never watch it again if it ever got released. You know, there's only some Doctor Who that I've ever watched once. Funny that.
Timeless Children's one of them.
Yeah, I got it coming up again though, because I'm doing the Jodie reviews. I'm putting that one off.
Well, David, this might not. I mean, thank you very much. Generosity, and it's you know, at this tricky time. Thank you very, very much. By the way, me and Garbage have been we've been rooting around, and actually, if you think about what's been going on, David Frame and everybody, regarding what was mooted to be in this Christmas special, I think we've got exclusive footage of what was got. You know, we talk about what was on the cutting room floor. Well, here it is. Thanks to Garbage, this is what happened.
I'm never alone with you. This has been an absolute joy. Don't want to do this alone. Poppy, 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 Poppy!
Oh. Watch out! Yeah! Let's go!
Oh God, it's our Poppy. Poppy was back. I worked for that Poppy.
No, I believe it or not, I was just imagining that I could picture Poppy being the quote new incarnation. I could see them pulling that. Could you see them pulling a version of Poppy as the Doctor for CBeebies?
Yes, I can actually, and I could see them throwing a version of Poppy for the new incarnation of the Doctor, which is why it's been put out to tender.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, it's still out there, isn't it, Rachel? Poppy as an older woman, you know, we can do it. She might have a Sonic like that with a lollipop angle to it as well.
That'd be an interesting take on the Sonic, a bit more creative.
Oh
yes,
yeah, that's
maybe a bit less sexual.
That's just
just
hurt my brain. That has.
Well,
it's everything that I didn't want to see in one go.
Oh, come on.
Surely.
It's like someone telling you need to eat this 3-course meal, but I've poisoned it. And that was what that was like for me. It was.
Oh, John, I got rid of Billy for you. I got rid of Billy with Poppy.
You did. You know, the Poppy thing was just malicious by you, to be perfectly honest. No.
Well, it's just that, John, you have to understand that people like me, we're barren, we're sterile, and so I wanted to help Poppy out. You know, honestly.
Well, all those that got kicked out of the TARDIS are going to be sterile by the way they're going to land.
I really did enjoy booting him out. Thanks, Garbage, for that.
Yeah.
Randy Howell, thank you. If the BBC retcons Shooty out of existence, well, I just have, as an illegitimate doctor, then Disney will sue the BBC. The Shooty episodes are still available on Disney Plus, and gosh, big ratings there.
Yeah.
And they could claim a retcon will drive viewers away. That's very...
It's a possibility, yeah. That is a possibility. That is like all written into their contracts and things like that. So...
Because, Rachel, what's happened now is it's all about money. It's not about the integrity of the show. It's just money, money, money.
I was going to sing money, 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 but then I'm going to monetize.
Yeah. Alert. So my source, I mean, honestly, he phoned me up a few days ago with this. Can you imagine the BBC? This is what he was told. Can you imagine the BBC making the Christmas special and put it out while production companies are pitching for the tender? All of us would not be able to come up with anything. This Christmas special would affect what you're going to pitch.
I tell you what they should do. Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
I tell you what they should do is like just take one of the old ones and put it on at Christmas.
I've said that.
Rachel,
Rachel, we agree.
Stick Genesis of the Daleks omnibus on. Just do something like
that.
Yeah,
something like that on BBC One. Yeah,
that does more to regenerate a brand than anything that they've done. I mean, they're putting on flipping Jodie Whittaker stuff at the moment. I believe, aren't they, on certain channels? Matt Smith. Yeah. Matt Smith's good, but they're going to get to Whittaker and they're going to get to Gatwa again at some point. And it's like, don't do it. You're going to damage the brand again. Put the classics on.
My dad's quite happy with the Matt Smith's ones being shown on the TV. Matt Smith's his favorite Doctor.
Yeah, it's good.
So, you know, I mean, he's got a good run. So
yeah, and he was very inventive. So to finish the argument of my source was, he said, "Hey, if I'm supposed to be putting money together and getting writing teams together and everything, if they did not say the Christmas special was cancelled, we wouldn't bother." So the BBC had to announce it was cancelled so that they could get on with the invitation to tender process. It had to be one or the other. But nobody's going to sit on their backsides and actually try and get all their creative juices going, knowing that there's a Christmas special with RTD faffing with the Rani and faffing with other stuff. So it made an awful lot of creative sense, I dare say.
Yeah.
And that's why the Jurassic lawyers, remember when RTD said, "Oh, the Jurassic BBC." After careful consideration, the BBC, RTD and Bad Wolf have collectively decided not to go ahead. Yeah, because we want to get on with the invitation to tender, and it was a rubbish idea. There you go. Now, we've got Mad Mackham up in Sunderland. Thank you very much. Poppy is the Doctor. Great. The TARDIS will smell like dirty diapers and awful writing. Space babies, anyone? Even the Daleks would change channels in pure disgust. Well, he's tried it once.
The smell.
I can't stand the smell. Well, the smell wouldn't be a problem, Mad Mackham. He's always got the doors bloody open. The bloody TARDIS doors are always open to space at the moment.
I'd still smell it. Seriously, I've got a nose for dirty nappies.
Stick Poppy in the zero room. I know it's jettison, but you know what I mean. Right, so that was why the Christmas special was cancelled, but we need to look at the time bomb itself that he was talking about. And as you know, we did get some leaks, and it wasn't just in dirty diapers. So here we go. So this is the first bit, everybody. So remember, he said it was all about plot and mythology, abandoned ship. And here comes the rumour. See what everybody thinks of this. The BBC and Bad Wolf, in consultation with RTD, decided in January not to proceed. An initial early draft script was completed. I heard it was 7 pages long. It remained at a very early draft stage, and it never developed further. While the BBC responded positively to the concept, the decision to put the series out to tender, coupled with RTD's planned departure, led the BBC to conclude that producing a standalone Christmas special would not represent a viable financial investment. This was despite the story's potential to provide additional closure for many, many threads. The story would have centered on the Doctor investigating a distress signal originating from a frozen human colony, whilst orbiting a dying star. It would have made more sense, Christian, if the Doctor had a distress signal from a frozen human embryo, because he's sterile. I'm barren. I'm sterile. Residents of the village colony had begun experiencing apparitions of deceased loved ones, with many mysteriously drawn into the surrounding snowfields. I mean, Christian, does this sound appealing or Christmassy or what?
Well, this doesn't sound particularly Christmassy unless you talk about the snow. But as soon as you start seeing deceased loved ones, the alarm bells are going off in my mind. Okay, I can see there's going to be a lot of callbacks once the Doctor is on site. So I could see kind of where this was going. Not wise under the circumstances.
I think for me as well, reading it just from text there and from how you've read it out, Brendan, it sounds like a Doctor Who story, you know, a colony, you know, with frozen people. That sounds like a Doctor Who story. But then in my head instantly, it suddenly jumps to the RTD camp Christmas story where it will be, you know, probably some snowmen stood in the fields or something like that, and some, you know, whimsical music. And that works better when it's a dark tone, not as a whimsy, you know. And I think you would have got whimsy, not dark tone.
Yeah.
Dark tone would have worked.
I mean, it's interesting if you really look at it. It's the first bullet point sounds like the Impossible Planet, where basically they were near a black hole, weren't there? And there were apparitions of the devil, you know, Toby and all that stuff. You've got residents of the village colony had experienced apparitions of deceased loved ones. So we've got the Ghost of Christmas Past. We've got a bit of Scrooge going on. You've got a bit of that. Now, what else was going on? Just see what gets our attention on this time bomb that would have caused mayhem. The production was designed with a relatively modest visual effects footprint. Well, hallelujah. Majority of sequences capable of being filmed on the sound stages, village set particularly. It would also have had some small, cute creatures. Oh, God, here come the Ewoks and the space babies of some kind that also inhabited the village that would have required some VFX. Yeah. Jar Jar, what was he called? Mr. Binks. That went well.
Jar Binks,
well.
yeah.
Jar Binks went well, didn't he? A central plot element involved the colony's leader refusing to acknowledge the growing crisis. Oh, God, it sounds like every leader we've ever had. Upon the arrival of the 16th Doctor, it would have been revealed that he had previously encountered a young Rose Tyler. The Doctor's regenerated appearance had effectively been chosen to enable her to play. God, that sounds contrived crap.
Yeah.
How to get out of that without moving?
Yeah, clickbait, Rose Tyler, bang, ding, bing. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you know, this was sounding all dark, and then you got to the cute, you know, like creatures or whatever, and I'm like, oh, please. It was giving me like Frontios vibes without being Frontios.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he's
kind of dark, but not. It's just no.
He's the ultimate power source. What, he's like a nuclear reactor now? Is he? Is that what they're going for with it? I mean, it's just. I'm going to say it's bollocks, isn't it? You know, again, it's just. I can't say it any other way than that. That's what it is. And again, I'm glad they've pulled the plug if that is the case.
And I'm only halfway through. The entity,
what?
The entity responsible.
I'm gonna get my stress squeezing ball now. Then
Wait, I have one somewhere.
When I was showing this to Christian earlier, Christian was saying this. I mean, remember that I've got 4 pages of this, and as you said, Christian, this would be a 2-parter.
Yeah. If the way they were mapping it out, there were so many details being plugged in. You're talking about 60 minutes. They've got to get the whole story introduced, and out in 60 minutes. They're doing too much under the circumstances.
It sounds like Flux on speed, and as you know, Flux really went at a pace that made no sense. The entity responsible for the disturbances would ultimately have been revealed to have been luring the Doctor to the colony all along, primarily by assuming the form of Susan Foreman. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So everybody, you know, there's been all the gossip about whether Caroline Ford will come back. Well, as you know, our other friend, Boomer Doug, has been playing around with this concept. Here comes Boomer Doug. He's got his own channel, just like Garbage does. Spy Guy as well. Take a look at this. He's been thinking how we could solve the Susan thing.
Help me, grandfather.
Oh, well, there you go. Apparently, I'm good in a hat.
I love it. Noir Doctor. That's what I call it. The Noir Doctor. And I like that profile.
I'm a bit worried about what else he's putting you in.
I know. I have no say at all. Now I know what it feels like.
And you're not sitting in a chair either, mate.
No. God help me. God, he might make me straight. Jesus Christ. Sarah, the series was becoming hated. I bet all the actors were relieved when it was cancelled. Nobody but RTD's ego wanted to have anything to do with this dog's dinner. Yes, I call it something else sometimes, don't I? So let's have another exciting... So I've mentioned what happens in the first 5 minutes, and now this is the rest of the episode. Here we go.
That was the first 5 minutes.
Actually, that was the pre-credit sequence, probably.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, Susan is the boss. The star may also have taken the form of other characters like Cybermen, Daleks. Oh, here we go. It's like the Weetabix where you just get another monster.
Yeah. There's a big Finnish trilogy that makes me think of, and it's a Colin Baker one, and it's got Fraser Hines back in it.
Yeah, where they go back into the Mine Robbers universe.
That's is that one? I don't know. Is it that one?
The one where
it's where Terry Harriet? Is it that one?
Yeah, and they're
in control.
It's their Mine Robber universe versions that are still kind of mirrors of themselves in there. I think
sounds like that.
Yeah. I'm keeping an eye on the thread, and I'm not seeing people going, "Oh, what a miss this is." No, I'm not seeing anything like that. So, yeah. You see, this is the problem. He's not thinking of anything new. He's gone, I mean, this is like Doctor Who dot plotting. Colony. And then, I've got the clickbait of Rose, right? Get Rose in it. And then somebody who's pretending to be Susan to lure the Doctor, but also might look like a Dalek, might look like a Cyberman. So we get them all in. It's all for the kids at Christmas. It's crap. It would later emerge that the sentient star itself had been absorbing into... Oh, what is this about? Do you know, none of these people are religious, are they? Moffat and all of them. None of them are religious. That's fine. But they have to keep doing this. Astrid, Peth, they have to keep doing that joy to the world. She becomes a star. What is this obsession with stars?
I was just going to say, that big woman that was in that Christmas special with Shooty that became a star. So basically, is this her? And she's just kept eating for centuries.
I think that technically she's a black hole. Yeah,
consumer of worlds. Yeah.
So yes, let's have a sentient star, because we've never done that in Doctor Who before. We seem to do it every Christmas special. Actually, Astrid, Peth, joy to the world, in a desperate attempt to use them as a power source to reserve the color. Omega did this better. Similar to the Rins of Akaturn. Oh, you mean RTD's doing the greatest hits of other people's writing? Ultimately, however, the effort proved futile as both the planet and the colony were approaching the end of their existence. Impossible Planet. The narrative would have drawn deliberate parallels between the planet's attempts to... alert, the message to sustain itself through others, and the Doctor's own tendency to fill the emotional voids left by Susan's departure. Stop tasering that terrorist. Stop. I'm your mum. I'm your granddaughter. I'm Poppy. Yeah, all right. In the climax, the star frees the harvested colony. Hasn't Davros done that before? And expresses remorse for its inability to truly save it. I am now getting bored. Really bored, John.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's copy and paste stuff, as you were saying a few minutes ago. Really, there is nothing fresh or exciting about it. But then there was nothing fresh or exciting about his era, second era of Who, anyway, was there? Really, it was all tired. It was always grabbing classic monsters and bastardizing them. He's outlived his time on Doctor Who, and looking back, I will just say that with rose tinted spectacles, we always thought he was a master of the first era, but just look at the writers that helped prop him up in that time. Without them, it's a proof and point that it didn't do very well.
And may I remind everybody, it's about to go invitation to tender. And look, I might put my hand up and say, look, I want to write for Doctor Who. And if I flukily put the money together and flukily got production companies behind me, I know it won't happen, but apparently that's the game. If I managed to get all that together, I'd have to have a brilliant concept to get in the room. Meanwhile, RTD just goes, I'll have a Dalek, I'll have a Weeping Angel, I'll have a Cyberman, I'll have a bit of Rose. What is the concept? Where's the cleverness? This is just churning out chud, isn't it, Christian?
It is just churning out chud. I don't believe RTD could himself pass the tender process. I don't really think he could.
No, not now.
What he did originally that people patted him on the back for is he found ways to introduce, say, in the first year with Dalek, for the first time, he did callbacks to something that worked. Another writer, but he introduced that during his tenure. Somehow he got it into his head. All I have to do is cut, paste, patch, mix and match all of these different pieces from the past, and people's nostalgic affection for those characters or antagonists will be enough to put the story over the top. It's a little bit like putting spectacle over story. You can't do that.
Yeah, and this is what I've hated for so long, Rachel, which is this spectacle, as Christian says. The size of it bores me rigid.
Oh yeah, bores me rigid too, to be honest with you. Think of a new idea, make it a bit more fresh, a bit more creative. Tell you what they should do is look at you mentioned Dalek just now, and obviously Dalek is based on Jubilee, Big Finish story. There's no harm in perhaps saying, hey, Big Finish, can we do something like Chimes of Midnight or something like that for Christmas? That's a good one to do, Well, it's that one's creative.
I've heard enough fans who are saying, Toby Whitehouse, they're naming the names who might put their name in the ring. But a lot of people have mentioned Big Finish, saying, well, Big Finish, especially in the early days, had some good stuff there.
Well, they do. I mean, Chimes of Midnight is my favorite Paul McGann story, and I'd love to see that televised with Paul McGann.
Sword of Orion's great as well.
Yeah.
That's one I love. There's really good early ones that they could adapt really well. It's just the trouble I've got with Big Finish at the moment, though, is the fact that they're too connected to what we've had previously, and I think it needs a radical change now with them not involved at all. No connection to what has been there for the last 20 years. It needs somebody to take it with a new, fresh style, a sensible new, fresh style that doesn't involve flipping gay doctors and, drag queens, villains,
How many of their stories have been televised, though? Dalek and the Spare Parts. Is there any others?
Yes, the Spare Parts was Moffat's final he adapted that one, didn't he? And and I suppose you could argue
Family of Blood.
Human Nature, Family of Blood. That was a Cornell story, wasn't it? I think you can. I think an intelligent person would be stupid not to go to a Big Finish and read through and go, oh, you know what? Let's have a look at this, and let's see what you've got there. I mean, the Eighth Doctor stuff is fantastic. Dark Eyes is without a doubt, some of my favorite stuff of Doctor Who, because McGann's great in it and it's really well done with the Daleks. So there's things you can do, but then an intelligent person would be able to pick it up. Interestingly, I was going to say, just before you guys carry on with it, did you see, because on the show I was on earlier, they brought it up, the guy that was involved with writing the original Stargate movie has actually put a video up this week in the last few days about, oh, Doctor Who's up for tender. What do you reckon? Should we bring it here? So Dean Devlin, yeah. So if you Google Dean Devlin, yeah.
Well, as just for those who are just joining us, that's the contents for tonight, and the shocking revelations about the BBC plans will tie a lot of things up that John is touching on, like who are the audience they're aiming for in the future. Will they take an American investment? Will they take an American writer? There's a whole load, I'm promising you. So this last little bit of the rumor, however, with this being the Christmas special, the Doctor is able to, oh God, are we still on this? To restore the star. Oh, thankfully. In the climax, the star frees the harvested colony, blah, 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 blah. And then, oh yeah, he restores the star, causing her to once again begin the regeneration process. As a thank you, the star... Oh, do you know what? I'm really just losing it. The star, which turns out created the Time Hotel, allows the Doctor to save Rogue and also visit the real Susan, where she's able to actually say goodbye to blah, 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 blah.
Stressful.
No.
This just sounds like magic wonder, you know, that it's the regeneration fairy dust again.
This is the kind of, I'm going to say, this is the kind of crap you used to find on forums by fans 25 years ago.
Fans did it better.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
A lot of people in the thread have said, and we were told that BBC's jaws were agape at this. I mean, agape as in shock, agape as in I can't believe you've tried this on us, or shock as in wow, you are so creatively genius. This is not genius. This is fan service. This is fan fiction of its worst kind, and a lot of us wouldn't dare present this. It's just, number one, if I want to prove I'm a damn good sci-fi writer of Doctor Who, I won't use anybody else's characters. Number one, I'd invent my own. I'd invent my own world. Number two, I would not be lazy and sit on the shoulders of giants from the past of Doctor Who. That is laziness. And as I've always said about RTD, if he is genius, why is he relying on other people's inventions, other people's worlds, other people's rules? Stop it.
Well, what has he created new villains wise? I mean, he's got a few slugs, which were awful.
Yeah, they needed to shave. Yeah.
Slovene, which fart. What else has he done?
Well, his best one, I think his best one was the one you didn't see, Midnight. You never saw that villain.
Oh, no, that hands down is one of the strongest. I mean, I like series 4 anyway.
Well,
but,
even a broken clock is right a couple times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then a sequel.
I mean, that just reads at the end of it. You know, it reads like the end of time again, where he's given himself time to go and see everybody that he wants to see before he regenerates. He's absolute codswallop. It's just, but it allows the Doctor to save Rogue. Well, yeah, where is Rogue? Where did he go? What happened there? That was never explained. So why is he going to save him? That's going to waste a load of time.
Maybe he's with the devil. It looked like he was burning in like some kind of fiery But
it was a triangle. He went into a triangle, which has a lot of.
Oh, I can't remember really.
I mean, it was all like.
And again,
it was a triangle on the floor.
And again, it changes now, though, doesn't it? Because Shooty was his gay. It was Shooty's gay lover. So now this is Billy Piper.
Yeah, makes sense.
Why?
And would they've got Jonathan Groff back? And there's a lot of questions. Everyone's going about is Billy Piper available? What about Jonathan Groff?
I think Jonathan Groff said he would come back.
I don't know.
I haven't looked at any Doctor Who news for a long time.
So Bill Silver,
they twerk, do they? They meet each other again and twerk at each other across the?
Well, they've done enough already. Bill Silver says here
the left and the right.
The Time Hotel presented me at least with the only truly magical moment from the entire Ncuti Gatwa era. When the when the concierge opened the door and led to the interrogation scene from the Day of the Daleks. I know what you mean, Bill Silver, but in another way, I think a lot of people would go, how very dare you link a very weak episode with a classic?
Yeah.
How dare you do that? That's where we are really confronted. some of us may not like some of what's happened in New Who or RTD2, but we keep saying, don't we? But our Blu-rays are safe, our classics are safe. But when you get an episode like you've just said, Bill, where suddenly you open a magic door and there's the blooming John Pertwee getting interrogated, suddenly Day of the Daleks is whacked, and then they are starting to get their little toy maker fingers all over classic. And then I have a problem. And basically, you've got me triggered now, Bill. Oh,
We're certainly not going to float out of here. Precisely what we are going to do.
Hurry up, Doctor. It's pretty hot in here.
Yes, exactly. But if we can turn the refrigeration unit up to maximum, the updraft will be hotter and even more powerful.
So, hot air rises.
Exactly. We might be able to rise with it.
Fantastic. Let's get on with it.
It's beginning to fill. It's rising. Hurry up. Don't
Force prepare. Firepower maximum.
Come on, Doctor, come on! It's going up! Oh, no! There's not enough lift to take all our weight!
Give it time, Tyrell, give it time.
It's not going to work. Doctor, it's not going to work.
it's not going to work. But it did. And as Cybermat Strikes, one of our detoxers, knows, it's one of the best stories ever written. He loves it. So, as it says at the bottom there, no actual Daleks, no number 14th Doctor, no David Tennant. Would have been rather... Oh, God. So he didn't freak out. He actually didn't try and solve every thread. He just tried to solve the Susan one, the Rogue one, the Billy Piper one. Too much. As you said quite rightly, Christian, if you're going to do that in 60 minutes, it's just going to be at such breakneck speed with the dialogue will be so concise and done at speed. Oh, Susan, here, bam, 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 and hi, Susan, I'm the doctor. Doctor, I can't believe it. Bam, bam, bam. I missed you. Bang, bang, bang. Gone. You wouldn't have time for anything emotional. It would have been just cheaply done. And I, for one, I'm so glad that poor Caroline Ford was saved from... I know it would be lovely to see her back, but not in this way.
Agreed. I look at it through the lens of this was a blessing. We are not going to be subjected to this detonation, and it would be explosive. It would do a lot of further damage to the brand and extend the problem, because I'm not sure this would effectively satisfy what an incoming team would want to operate around. It's almost infantile, and I wouldn't want to be a part of that. I wouldn't want to be associated with it.
So it's interesting that my source, talking to the BBC informally, said they were worried that this would leave a time bomb in the whole tender process. And then when we see rumours like this, you can see why they thought, is it worth making? I mean, does it amount to anything, John? I mean, there's a lot of action going on, but actually, when you finish watching it on Christmas Day, you'd probably go, what was that?
It's all flashbang wallop again, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's just RTD. You know, there's no substance to it. It's effectively it's an hour of him smelling his own farts before he goes. That's what it is, isn't it? You know, it's nothing. No, farts. Yeah.
Maybe he likes the scent. I don't know.
Yeah. It's nothing to do about developing the future of the show.
Cabbage,
to do with that.
Cabbage. Forget the custard pie AI about me. Can we make John into a Slovene? Because he mentions farts every week now, so I think he's a Slovene.
Yeah, just put a sticker on my head like that as well.
It doesn't help that I'm here encouraging it. She's back.
Oh, so everybody, look, we all love Caroline Ford, and she was the unearthly child. She started this all off. And it was a sad moment in Dalek Invasion of Earth when William Hartnell quite abruptly left her on Earth with a mortal who might die in a few years' time. And she's a time lady, we all assumed. But don't bring her back at any price. Don't do that to her. Please don't. I mean, bringing back William Russell for that one little tiny scene in Power of the Doctor. I know everybody's going to go, it was nice to see him, but he only had that 1 or 2 lines. And one of the lines was, did you say she?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
I've said this for a long time now, that the ship has well and truly sailed of wanting her back. And that's not against her. It's because time and time again, it's been proven what RTD does with legacy characters and legacy monsters. Don't let him have any touch of them whatsoever. I'm glad we're not seeing the resolution of this, because I truly think it would have been awful
I agree.
and disrespectful to Carol Ann Ford and how she portrayed Susan, in my opinion.
At least by just having it like this, it's kept simple.
Yeah.
You know, it's not great, but at least it's not gonna, take a giant dump all over her.
Like this.
Right. So
like that, yeah, essentially.
Yeah. Well, you see, this one, I know they were doing a homage to Bridgerton, but what's that got to do with Doctor Who? And actually, the villains there, the monsters there were Childer, and they were cosplayers. And I thought that was such crud. This one, obviously, it hits the Rainbow Alliance big time.
Yeah.
Jonathan Groff, good actor too. But I just didn't know why we were doing this in Doctor Who. And if you look back on my shows, that was one of my big hitters on a Sunday when I went mad, and I did say rest in peace Doctor Who, and I've only said that once, and that was after this episode, because I don't want that back. I don't want to see them two twerking in the TARDIS to Kylie Minogue records again. So we've seen why it's dangerous to the tender process, and we've seen why the special's cancelled. So the next big one, everybody, hold your horses, is the shocking revelations. They're coming about the whole tender process and the plans for Doctor Who. We've got a bit of tidying up to do first, so here we go. The constant disregard for the fan base. Well, Mark Dolan, who's on various channels, Talk TV and everything, he said this: after the axing of Hardy Perennials, Football Focus and Question of Sport, Doctor Who is another example of a BBC show that has been destroyed by political box ticking, rampant ageism, and mind-boggling diversity quotas. It's amazing they didn't paint a giant rainbow flag on the TARDIS. This is the problem, John. Doctor Who's become a totem. It's become a cultural icon for people to keep grabbing and going, it's ours, it's ours, it's ours, and it's getting pulled apart.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think, sadly, I think it is now being bastardized into an LGBTQ show. I think that's very difficult to unravel now because of what they've done. And I will finish off. Remember when Survival finished in '89? And remember people used to say about, Doctor Who fans, it was very niche, and very, very cultish. But now, look at it now. It's far worse than what that was and how we were seen in '89. Now it is literally a cult of people that just see it as, oh, it's gonna talk to me about what I feel and I'll be seen in this show, not about entertaining people. That is gone, and it needs a long break as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Christian, it starts to raise the argument that we fans are having all the time. I've mentioned the linear approach, but basically, do we have to have Doctor Who content on the screen all the time? Because it seems to me every time the BBC serves us up a dollop of it, it's less like Doctor Who.
There is something called too much of a good thing. Anything good wears out its welcome over time. One of the problems that Disney had with Star Wars was trying to churn out product constantly. It was all substandard. It all constantly damaged the brand. It didn't give the fans what they wanted. It didn't attract any new people. It ceased to become something special. What if for a committed period of 5 years, they said, we're going to do a single television movie through the BBC. It'll run 90 minutes and we're going to call it a day each year. One event. Doesn't have to be Christmas, just one event, but one good story. I would rather have that than be saturated every week with 45 minutes of sludge, which is what we've been getting for almost 10 years. We don't need that.
So you've got Randy Howell here. Thank you. Another reason to cancel would be if they could not line up any international streamers or cable TV channels to carry the special. And Jay Henson, Muppets by any chance? No. The missing episodes of Dalek Master Plan were really good. Yes, and I remember Christian, for example, joining us on that one when we reviewed it. Do you think those in charge noticed when compared to modern era? Felt like the new era really fell apart after the release of the lost episodes. It really did expose, I have to say, Henson, it really did expose. I mean, Christian, you watched them with us, and we said at the time, didn't we? My God, these are bloody good.
Well, what it reminded me of is why, we talk about this Christmas. We don't have to do something new. Let's put on an episode of classic Doctor Who. Oh my God, if they picked an episode like that, pick your favorite episode from that era and decided to run that for Christmas, the sheer contrast between what it once was and what it's become would be unpalatable for the BBC. They'd have to be mortified at the sheer contrast, showing the ineptitude. It would expose the ineptitude of Bad Wolf Studios. And they wouldn't want to take that embarrassment. They couldn't save face.
I'm fascinated by hearing that it was only a draft and they all agreed it was not good enough, and he was failing to pull it together. Yes, a rough draft with all that crap on, but he was failing to pull it together, Rachel. And then Forbes is here talking about Terrence Dicks, who had a hell of a job on with the Five Doctors and yet managed to do it. And I'll just add another one in before I come to you, Rachel. Stephen Janey, the sexualization of Doctor Who has caused the slow rot.
Yeah, I'd agree on that.
I would agree on that too.
Yeah. It's a bore. It just makes it too kind of lame and samey, doesn't it? And it actually dates it so well. And remember this one, folks, about respecting the fan base.
Oh, yum, yum, yum. I'm going to eat this up. This is fantastic.
So, what did Jinx Monsoon say? Numbers are not shrinking. For every transphobic, racist, bigoted Doctor Who fan that we lose this season, that was season 1, there are going to be 3 to 5 new fans who are coming in for the representation. So to those fans who are not fans, I say, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Get back in your piano, you stupid kid.
So where were those fans then?
Well, I'd love to have someone do a follow-up question for this person.
Yeah.
Well,
who's disappeared as well.
Yeah.
It's like people say to me,
I heard.
Yeah, people will. I mean, people have tried to say, the BBC source I had and all the rest of it, and they say, "Oh, that aged badly." Well, the BBC source still insists on what he said, but I know people like to score silly, cheap points. However, this isn't a silly, cheap point, because where are these 3 to 5 fans? If you lose a Brendan classic fan, where's the 3 to 5 new ones? And when we get to what the BBC are wanting from their audience figures later on tonight, it's all going to kick off, I tell you. So
I don't like this kind of attitude from the actors tying it into the show. They can have their opinions and their political opinions and the whatnot, but saying things like that and then having it being put in print, to me, that's majorly problematic. And that's why people will switch off. Not everyone will switch off because of that, but people do. They get upset.
Rachel, remember, that side always says they like to be inclusive and they don't like to be divisive. And yet I think that
that's extremely quite divisive.
Exactly.
Do you know who I blame the most for this? It's actually the BBC and studios for not basically putting in clauses in their contracts to basically say, if you speak your gob and you cause anything that damages the brand or damages the show, we are going to dock you salary. We're going to dock you pay, or we're clawing it back.
My last major performance job that I did, I had clauses written into my contract where I couldn't post online certain things, and I couldn't let people know that I was playing certain characters and things like that, because it would cause problems. You're not allowed to do it.
No.
Well, and I know people will say to me, "Oh, well, they're allowed to say what they think. They're allowed to say if they get upset." Well, no, not if they're under contract. They have to make it look the best that it possibly can be. I'm going off on one now, but it's true.
And
It is true.
As Lance Uppercut says here, a statement that aged like milk and made him look a complete fool. And that is
smells
the issue.
rancid.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, and I know where people stand on this one, but I will always play fair on the sense for you. Doctor Who star Joe Martin addresses a series future and says we should be talking to the fans more. Now, Joe Chapman says that. She says, as a TV producer herself, if you're going to bring back Doctor Who or you're going to re-establish Doctor Who, there's nothing wrong with a TV producer actually in the pitch process talking and consulting with certain Doctor Who fans. I'm not saying Ian Levine and all the rest of it, but I'm saying now you've got streamers, as Joe said, she wasn't necessarily meaning me. There's streamers out there. You could talk to a fair few of them and get an idea of what fans want. So good for her for saying that, because to be honest,
Joe Martin said that.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. I was just looking up her age, 57. It's coming from a more like older mindset as well. Sees it the other way too.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't like her doctor, but I can see that. Now I wanted to just tee up.
I'd rather
John.
have her than Jodie.
I just wanted to tee up John here because.
Yes, I know.
I find this is interesting because it's all about the Stargate, but I wanted to apply it to Doctor Who because if you look at some of the language here, Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis director Mario Azzopardi, Now, he says bits and bobs. Devastated, angry, saddened. As we all know, Stargate has been cancelled. This is wrong. It's not merely disappointing. It's a profound mistake by a system increasingly cut off from the very people it claims to serve. Well, Doctor Who, what we are seeing is not creative courage. Well, we've just mentioned that rubbish plot. It is disrespect dressed up as reinvention. It is the arrogance of entitled BBC executives who believe they can take a beloved source material, strip it of what made it matter behind the sofa, respecting canon, respecting the Doctor as asexual, blah, 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 discard the lessons that built its audience, and replace them with distorted reinterpretations designed to serve agendas rather than story. That is not evolution, that's vandalism. I tell you what, John, I know it's about Stargate, but every word there is about Doctor Who.
100%. And again, how many times over the years have we talked about all of the franchises that have been damaged as a result of this indoctrination of the franchise to get the new audience, as they call it, the diverse audience? This is all part of it. They strip it out, they hollow it out. It's like a zombie being after they've got into it. And every single time they do it, which with whatever franchise it is, they don't just ruin it, they literally salt the earth so that someone finds it very difficult to rebuild from it, because it's like, if we can't have it, you're not going to have it. That's their mindset, and they do it all the time. And this is bang on for Doctor Who as well as Stargate. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do for you, Christian, is I'll show you the next bit just so you can see it really is relevant. Stargate earned its fans because it respected wonder, intelligence, courage, loyalty. Now we could make the list for Doctor Who. You do not abandon the soul of something loved by millions and then act surprised when the people who loved it feel betrayed. We have seen this pattern before. I bloody have. Snow White, The Odyssey, blah, 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 blah. They may control the rights, the budgets, and the boardrooms, but they do not own the meaning. And I'll tell you what, that resonated with me, Christian. We keep getting told Doctor Who's about change, Doctor Who's about career energy, Doctor Who's about this. And we keep saying it isn't. And they keep saying, la, 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 la. We're not listening.
Well, they don't want to hear the truth. When they've fixated on something, I think there's a psychology behind it. When they fixated on something, well, yes, it's open-minded. People want to enjoy a very progressive tone in world building, but they use that openness as a wedge to force themselves in and put whatever agenda or idea they want to layer on top of it. And they do that in defiance of both the tone and canon of the IP they're destroying and the fans that they claim to be serving at the same time, simultaneously patting themselves on the back for their wonderful virtue signaling and expecting accolades from the public at large. It doesn't work that way.
Nah. So final slides, and then I'll get your viewpoint. And then there you go. Remember Rachel a year ago? Look at that. So there, yeah, that was the week that was woke. We've got Michael Herbert watching, and Michael Herbert wants them back. I tell you, he keeps saying so.
Well, we'll have to chat about that, Brendan.
Yeah?
I think, yeah, because obviously I've been working a lot, and I also haven't been too well. So we'll chat about that.
Yeah,
might be that we move it over to my channel or something, maybe.
So there you go, everybody. You see, there it is. And I know he says that what hurts most today is not simply that a show has been cancelled. Now, Stargate is cancelled. They keep saying
Shut up.
They keep saying Doctor Who isn't cancelled.
Go ahead and call it cancelled, everyone. You're wrong. You're literally wrong.
The show is not cancelled.
I know, it's extraordinary to see newspapers who should know better seeing the show has been cancelled. It's the opposite. It's been put out to tender. Yes. And I understand that's an industry phrase, and people might not understand what a show being put out to tender means. Equally, at the same time, those people are complaining on devices which have a search engine. Go and look it up. But being put out to tender means, and this will happen to every BBC show, it's happened to Casualty, it's happened to The Weather. The weather was put out to tender. Do you know the weather now is not made by the Met Office?
I thought it had gone back.
Oh, has it gone back?
Oh, we're going really into the nitty-gritty of the BBC now.
Well, what it means is the programme is pitched to be made by an independent company.
Yes.
As opposed to the BBC. Independent companies include BBC Studios, by the way, which is separate to BBC Public Service. So they're in the running, I imagine. I don't know. I'm not part of this process because it's a very legal process. But it's happened to Casualty. Casualty has been sitting there for years as a BBC show. It was put out to tender last year. Now that's going to be made independently by BBC Studios. So the same thing is happening here with Doctor Who. And I think, I'm not in charge of this process, that means many years ahead, no one's going to put out to tender, no one's going to apply for a tender for 1 year. It's not worth it.
Yeah, you've got to lock in.
You've got to lock in just to make it financially worthwhile. So I think this guarantees years of the programme. But no.
Translation. Cancelled until further notice, essentially, is the put out to tender.
Wordplay.
Yeah, it's literally, that's what it is. It's not going ahead until we can find someone to take it over.
And didn't you find it interesting? I thought that he was very, very defensive, and he was, he was getting a little bit agitated at one point when he was responding. And I also find it quite funny that he's saying this on a show called Gadio. It's just the perfect finale for RTD.
Don't you listen to that? No. It is
radio, my friend. Radio.
I was a little bit disappointed that his host didn't give him one hard question, which was, is it possible, if it's being put out to tender, that no one picks it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to admit that's a possibility.
Or is it possible that you've actually been in a tender negotiation process for over 12 months and someone hasn't wanted it since then? So now you're having to say the Christmas special is cancelled without any news about what's to come because nobody wants it.
Right, Kimberly Foster, you may, if you discover sense fear, I take all viewpoints on, and we will respect it, even if we disagree. Respect your point of view and anger. My only concern with this dialogue is your focus on the diversity issues. Actually, we focused on Susan. We focused on the canon being bust. And why you're leaning on it when you could just do a Christmas special. If you've got a great idea, go for it. Remember, Kimberly, all those people out there who are investing a whole pile of money to try and just get their pitch noticed, they can't do crud like, a Cyberman and a Weeping Angel and a this and a that. That's what I've been focusing on big time.
And just for me personally, my problem is with the scripts and primarily diversity issues. That's me, because that's been the main problem that's killed the show.
And remember, we are allowed to say that there wasn't that kind of diversity push in the scripts before because the Doctor was asexual, so it was irrelevant. And actually, I think any classic Doctor would have said, why are we waffling on about pronouns? Why are we waffling on about stuff?
Save the day. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff that's so peripheral to the saving the universe. It's just nonsense.
It is.
You know, let's get bigger. Be bigger than this. Elevate yourself. So to the fans, Stargate, your anger is not misplaced. Oh gosh, is anybody who's made Doctor Who going to say that to us? Your disappointment is not childish. Your grief is not nostalgia. Remember when Mark Gatiss said weaponized nostalgia? It was a weapon. It is the natural response of people who recognize when something they loved has been mishandled by those who should have known better. And that here, because the BBC lamely thought because RTD is a Doctor Who fan that everything he does is going to be good. I think familiarity breeds contempt, and you have to be very careful that just because you know the brand, you don't then think you can infect the brand and change it in your image. That is what you've got to be careful of.
To make it suit you, look at the toy maker. The toy maker is a good example of that. And how he was originally versus to how they changed him because it was offensive, and then made him German anyway.
Yeah. Squinty Mint. Yeah, you agree with Kimberly. The scripts and John, the scripts have been terrible, and that is the main issue.
Yeah, they are the main issue.
Do you know what? We'll never know, but if Ncuti Gatwa had good scripts, if Jodie Whittaker had good scripts, it could have been a different story, but they weren't, so we'll never know.
Yeah, and I say that, you know, as I've seen Ncuti has done other things, you know, and I would say in those other things that I've seen him do, he's a much better actor than what he gave us for Doctor Who. But I think a lot of that comes from the weakness in the scripts and perhaps even lack of understanding of the character in its entirety. You know, and I gave him a really good chance. You know, I really did.
So,
Jodie.
So we're just going to look at what Peter Capaldi said, and then we hit those shocking revelations, everybody. So stay up. Here we go. So Capaldi said the Doctor Who has had too many regenerations. I didn't like the direction the show was going in. Everybody was leaving. To be honest, I think there's too many regenerations now. I've lost count. The weight of it has been diminished. And I say, Peter Capaldi, you know your stuff. I have said again and again and again, if you're going to do a new pitch for Doctor Who, we've got to stop numbering the doctors. And that might actually feed into what Peter Capaldi is saying, because there's been so many, it's been diminished. So I would actually say, here, in future, start the show with a doctor, and we don't know where they fit in. What do you reckon to that, John?
Starting with a new doctor and you don't know where they fit in. I mean, it works, but the elephant in the room is still Gatwa and Whittaker. They are problems.
Can't we move on from them, though? Rather than
no, I can't. And the reason being is because they represent something that is significantly damaged and put the show on life support. And it wasn't done for the best interests of the show or for entertainment. It was done purely for diversity, equity, and inclusion. That was the reason it was done. It wasn't organically done. If it had been organically done, I wouldn't have liked it, but I would have gone, okay, I'll have to leave it as it is. But it was done purely to push a movement, and that is why I can't accept it.
But even if Ncuti and Jodie you liked, right? I still think there's a problem with we've had so many doctors now that you can't have doctor number 22. It's just
no. I agree. The number needs to go. The number definitely needs to go. I think that the trouble is now. It's the trouble you've got now is anyone that takes the role now. It's on average you're looking at 2 to 3 years and you get another regeneration. It's not like it and you're right. It has diminished. Capaldi is right. It has diminished the regeneration because there used to be a time when you really looked forward to it because you knew it was coming, the end of one doctor and the beginning of another. But to be honest, I don't know about you. I didn't give a monkey's stuff about Ncuti going. I'd lost interest at that point.
Well, he was too joyful.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, what is he? He's a flipping solar warp core or something now that he'll just burst a light across the universe. It's like, what happened? We said this before. what happened to a doctor? Every cell in his body is dying, and he is lying on the floor, gasping for his last breath. That's what I want from Doctor Who again. I don't want standing up and doing a cartwheel.
But this is,
you know,
but this is where, Christian, I just think they did it with Ninth Doctor. We started with the Doctor. We didn't see the regeneration, and we just moved on. And actually, I'm taking what John's saying. So say you didn't like the time as children and various things that have happened. When we made the Eccleston Doctor, you could say we didn't like the half-human thing in the Doctor Who movie. But did that get referenced by Eccleston's Doctor? No, we just moved on. And I just wonder whether we just keep ploughing on.
I will just say quickly, sorry, Mr. Wayne JP, John, if you can't move on, move off. You're contributing nothing at this stage. Well, I don't know if you've heard me say over the several times that I've been on this show, I have moved on. I stopped watching Jodie Whittaker and I stopped watching Ncuti Gatwa. But you know what? I'm a Doctor Who fan. I love classic Doctor Who, and I love the original run of RTD up to the end of Capaldi. So I'll enjoy that. But I got the right to say what I want to say about the future of the show, which is get it out of the toilet. That's my opinion.
I think this is why I put that Stargate thing up, because part of that Stargate template actually did say, Christian, didn't it? It said everybody who has a passion and has passionately invested in Doctor Who, Stargate, has a right to have their opinion as well, Christian.
Absolutely. But that's the one thing that they don't take into account. In reference to your question about Eccleston starting unnumbered at the moment, we didn't see a regeneration. And ignoring the half-human remark from McGann, that's what I call soft canon. It's something light. It's something around the periphery that you can move on without referencing. To get back to what John was saying about Gatwa and Whittaker, those are huge sledgehammer pieces of what I call modern canon, modern history of the show. That's why it's hard to ignore them or even to dismiss them. And the problem is, even if you, in your wisdom, as the showrunner starting in 2027, had the capacity to put them off to the side and not reference them, someone is going to come along one of these days in your shoes and they're going to say, you know what? I love those two iterations of the Doctor. Let's go ahead and channel some of those stories and references back into a new wonderful story circa the 2040s. And all of a sudden you've got this problem back in the franchise again. That's the problem with just leaving them sit there, and why it's a problem for John and people that feel similarly passionate. You can't leave it unaddressed because someone's going to address it for you, and not in a way you want.
Oh, and well, that's the other thing. Big Finish. This grab a crumb now, don't know. Kimberly Foster, who sounds as though she's Generation X like me. The thing I learned about Doctor Who is it always changes. You know, season 17 to season 18 type thing. I'm so grateful to have learned that so early. I'm Generation X, so adaptability is in my DNA. I had this discussion with new Who fans. What broke me was story. And I have to say, I think that gift has gone about how to write a story. That it truly is the problem. So just to show you a bit more, Rachel, he did also defend the show. So he talked about the regenerations and all the rest of it, but he did defend the show as well. And in essence,
I've not seen this, by the way. It's just first time. Yeah.
What he in essence said is basically the show will be the same but different. It'll always plow on. You know, that kind of stuff that everybody says, saying Doctor Who will never die because it's such an amazing formula, blah, blah, blah. So he says at the bottom here, Doctor Who has been great to Russell, and it's been great to everybody who's worked any of it, and it will continue to be great. It's not going anywhere. Everybody seems to be in denial that it's in a bit of a problem. So why isn't it on telly, is what I'd say. And then he says, maybe it will disappear for a while in time and space. That's what the Doctor does. You know, it's all blandishments. And
could it be that he's getting at the fact that it's an IP, and IPs don't really go away? Not that I want Doctor Who to go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. And you just never know in the universe. And if he's going to do that, he can do that. And so basically, it's just like saying anything can happen. So being fair, Capaldi moaned about the regenerations. I agree with him. He also said Doctor Who will never die. Now, it might die if what I show you next. Everybody, I hope you've all got your popcorn, because My source talking to the BBC informally learnt all these things. So get ready for it. But first of all, let's just kind of, I don't know, purify our palate, so to speak.
Rendezvous at 3212.
As Russell T Davies flies away from the Doctor Who homeland, having wreaked destruction on the BBC show and wrecked the Disney partnership, firing below par scripts and destroying the co-streaming global aspirations of the BBC, destabilising their financing for Doctor Who. But how was RTD allowed to use Doctor Who to fight his own political campaigns? How was he allowed to fly Doctor Who on a kamikaze mission of losing viewers, losing lead actors and provocative storylines? Where were the missed opportunities to alter course, to stop the imploding of the fan base and mastermind a safe course? Now that RTD has escaped the doomed Doctor Who show, parachuting to Channel 4 drama, his own memoirs, time to deep dive into those errors. Thank you, Garbage. I had to show that because it sums up the era and where we've got to. If I was making a pitch now, I have to be aware of everything RTD2 has done. Are we ready, folks? I think we are. Here we go. So, of course, let me just set it out. There's an invitation to tender process. They will give all the details. There'll be certain confidential documents sent to just the producers. We won't really see that. And basically, it should take about 6 months. So basically, you can see with Casualty here, April 2025, it was announced. Then the invitation to tender went out in May. And then the deadline to pitch was only 2 to 3 weeks later. And then it took 6 months to decide. The BBC decided to give it to the BBC studios.
Yeah, okay. And, here's the thing. Casualty is a soap. Casualty is pretty much consistent in what it puts out. And all in all, there are people who just really enjoy it just for it what it is. And so it was an easy pickup. There was nothing complicated that they had to overcome. They'd already written out Charlie. So we're grand,
Yeah. Well, here we go. Here comes the fun. Now, and I tell you what, there's so much to discuss, but dive in, everybody. Right. So having talked informally to the BBC, my source said this: no possibility of finding a Philip Hinchcliffe of the future. The BBC will want heavyweight guarantees. Many production companies haven't got a chance. JMS, Babylon 5 has no chance. They want British. So there's a lot to pick on there. Where do you want to go with that one, Christian?
Well, you're trying to find someone who has the ability to create powerful stories, compelling characters, generate tension, remain consistent within the tone of a show and the canon of its history. That's a big ask, because a lot of people that have those skill sets are not going to be encouraged to operate in harness under the BBC. As an incipient writer myself, I would not want to be harnessed and hobbled working in their service under these conditions. JMS being American, you've got to have someone who is British. That also puts a lot of people outside the arena. I think, though, the bottom line is the constrictions of the tender, as they're going to design it, will probably be a deterrent to the kind of talent that they need to recruit. I think that's the problem here.
And look, JMS is in his 70s. Philip Hinchcliffe was 26, 27 when he got the job. And so, John, when I come to you, and there's a lot of different things that you may want to pick on there, but my one is the Philip Hinchcliffe one. We're never going to have that halcyon era again where somebody will take a risk. When they say they want a heavyweight, it's somebody who's already got a CV doing this. So they've played it safe. They've played it to formula.
Paint by numbers, yeah.
To me, John, this means Doctor Who will die.
I would agree with you on that. I don't think you're right. We're not going to get a Hinchcliffe that comes out where someone says, give it give it a punt to that guy. You know, I think he could do a really good job. We've got faith in him or her. It's just a case of I try not to be cynical of it, but it will go to someone who ticks the right boxes for the diversity quota and somebody who will do whatever studios want them to do, you know, and put whatever studios want them to have in it. And I just don't have any confidence at all that it's gonna survive it.
Yeah. Squinty Mint, they want to know it will be. I do get this, and so does my TV producer friend. They want to know it will be a success, which is why they haven't got anyone in mind now. It won't get recommissioned. But they will want somebody big, a big hitter, Rachel. They won't want to make. I mean, in a way, that's respecting Doctor Who because they don't want to take a risk with it. The trouble is, Rachel, I think we're at the point we need to take a risk with it.
I think we do need to take a risk with it. Like listening to this, I'm thinking you're asking for a needle in a haystack if you're going to be doing it this way. Although with the Philip Hinchcliffe idea, would it be better to just go back to just a producer run show and have different writers come in? I think I've suggested that before, but it's an idea that I'm actually pretty serious about. Would it be better to get away from the showrunner?
Script editor.
Yeah.
A producer, script editor, yeah.
I would definitely. And here's another tasty morsel for you, all from the mouths of the babes at BBC. Regarding the reputation of the show, the BBC are happy with low numbers like 2 to 2.5 million. They accept that it's a historically low number, but they still see it as pretty good. What matters is that it makes a lot of money for them. So we're going to get crud. They don't care. We are saying we're bothered about that. The villain's been changed. The Doctor's character's been changed. And you know why they're being deaf to us, John? Because all they're saying is, it's making us money. Shut up. It's making us money.
And again, what you're saying about playing it safe, these are people that are making decisions that are playing it safe because they're not taking the risks and swinging for the fences to go, do you know what, if we just do this and give this a try, we might fail, but we may end up getting sort of 9 million viewers. You know, it's possible, but they're not. They're going to carry on like this. I still maintain, I know we agree to disagree on this, I don't think the merchandise and the money they make is as profitable as it's being made out, because I keep saying it. When Doctor Who finished in 89, look at the merchandise that was being sold. You could buy Daleks, you could buy radio controlled Daleks, you had the VHSs, the novels. It was doing very, very well. But now 90% of the time it's absolute pap stuff like Jinx Monsoon pin badges and stuff like that. It's in a really bad place. So I don't think it's doing as well as they think it is. I think this is a kind of save face kind of comment.
Maybe, John, what they're doing is looking at the potential of the revenue stream. They're remembering what it used to be, and they're anticipating that if they just keep doing what they're doing, it'll get back to that somehow.
Yeah. Burnt to Shine UK says get J.K. Rowling to do it.
There you go.
I find it fascinating that this is like marking your own homework, though. This is like, all right, you're a high up BBC executive. Can I just remind everybody, a BBC executive, you're supposed to be making entertaining television, and you're just saying, I'm happy with nobody watching. I mean, I'm just trying to understand that one. I am a top high-level TV executive, and I'm happily saying to my producers below, if we don't get the numbers, in other words, people watching, I'm all right with that. Really? So what you're saying is any crappy content to fill the schedules, as long as ka-ching, you can make a stupid crappy doll and sell it later on. Are you saying that that's what you're doing to Doctor Who now? Because 2 to 2.5 million is appalling. It's up there with Country File. It's up there with Bargain Hunt. And they are much cheaper programs. It's just nonsense. Michael Nemo, I take your point. I've spent 46 years numbering the Doctors, so I'm okay with it. And I know you'll never please everybody. I understand, and that's fair. Mr. Wayne, okay, I was going to email you this when I'd heard more, but an acquaintance has suggested Treasure Trove, Mackenzie Crook's production company, is considering submitting a pitch. What are your thoughts on that? Well, I'm going to show you a slide in a minute from my source who talks about how many companies he thinks are going to bid. And so I think it's very possible. Has anyone else got any skin in the game regarding that suggestion from Mr. Wayne?
I don't know anything about that.
No, I didn't know anything about that.
No, I don't know that one, but I think, yeah, competition is good, but if it always ends up being BBC Studios, then it's just pretending to look good. Michael Nemo, diversity and inclusion will be in Doctor Who. Also, yeah, well, there's more to come from my source. Also, BBC Doctor Who will remain British, and I think even our American friends, and I've seen a few in the channel on the thread, and also Christian have said so too. Farsight, if that's true, it's better off not coming back. I'm sorry, Farsight. I can only tell you what I'm being told. I can't try and make it sound any better. So 2 to 2.5 million, they don't give a damn really, because as TV makers, they don't care if nobody watches it.
If they find someone who is really, really good and understands sci-fi, they don't have to like Doctor Who, but if they can find someone who can do it, I think Terrence Dix has said you don't have to like it either. Actually, now I think about it, but if you can find someone that can do it, then people will watch, and lo and behold, the money will go up. You'll sell more because people are more invested in it, because you've got someone who knows how to write for the show. They don't have to like it. No one has to like it to be able to write sci-fi.
Yeah, I agree. The
You've
trouble
got
is,
to know how to write it, though.
RTD's got away with it for years, twisting it into something else. That's the trouble. Jess Corbin, obviously with her writing credentials, I'm not going to go into my usual respite regarding the salaries of those per year. Sums up. I mean, yes, they're on big money, and they don't want people watching the show because it's less pressure. My God. So what else has he said? Time has not been allowed for a reboot idea to be possible. Numbers left massively after the specials. So this is what my source was saying, that anybody who does want a reboot version, because the invitation to tenders going out now, there hasn't been long enough to detoxify the brand. So basically reboot is out. Okay. Christian, how are your thoughts on that?
Well, maybe not. It depends on what the idea that is brought in. If someone is going to investigate the tender option, they're going to have to come up with an idea. Someone's going to come up with an idea for a reboot version. That's going to be one of the options. Someone's going to come up with a continuation. Some will probably come out of left field with some very bizarre interpretations of it. I don't know which way the BBC is going to leap. However, I can say this. The brand is so toxic at present, and people have such ill feelings about it right now because of what's been done. It sometimes does take time for those ill feelings to wane and for people to start remembering. As a matter of fact, I look more along the lines of, when does nostalgia kick in? Usually on a 20-year cycle. So again, we're looking at the 2040s for enough time to have elapsed for people to start getting nostalgic for the Tennant and Matt Smith eras again, and someone pitching the hat in the ring saying, you know what, maybe we ought to, bring that show back. The one people used to love way back at the turn of the millennium. Maybe that's what'll happen.
Now, John here, Squinty Mint, interesting about, there's the reboot idea, but Squinty Mint talking about the 2.5 million guesstimate. And he says, I think they're being realistic about the audience figures at this point. If they were expecting 5 million plus, it would be a big ask for a new production company for a damaged franchise. I buy into the idea, John, that you might, because I actually do think Doctor Who should start small again, build with word of mouth. When it went global, look at where we ended up, John. So in a way, I do buy into Squinty Mint's logic. But what are your thoughts on that and the reboots not being possible?
Yeah, firstly, with the viewing figures, I can understand it, but I'm also in the mindset of they need to actually be ambitious with UK viewing figures. I agree with you, Brendan. I think it all went downhill when they started thinking we need to focus on North America because North America is where it's at, and again, like you said, word of mouth spread in the US during the Matt Smith run, and it
Yeah.
got popular. And then they took their eyes off the ball, and they basically went, right, okay, America, America, America. Whereas people were finding Doctor Who because of its unique British, being a unique British sci-fi show. I think with regards to a reboot, I've said many a time I don't want to reboot. And the reason I don't want to reboot is no matter what the damage that RTD and Co have done, I want a good writer to fix the problem, because I do not want them damaging 60 plus years of a wonderful show. I want it to be repaired. I don't want them sitting at home one day with glee thinking, oh, they've had to reboot it because of what we've done. I think it just needs to be repaired.
Right. Well, as I come to Rachel, Oram, good to see you. The specials antagonized people so much. RTD deliberately made Doctor Who a culture war casualty. That's the bit I really hate. That just make Doctor Who. Don't bring it into a culture war. Please don't do that. It doesn't deserve it if you respect Doctor Who. Odyssey Sama, I would write better Doctor Who, but I would encourage you to be much more creative and come up with other creative ideas. But I would definitely go in a very dark direction with Doctor Who. Well, did you see my recent stream where the BBC don't like that sound of idea? Now, Rachel, where do you stand as a Doctor Who fan? Would you ever consider reboot?
Nah. No, I don't think I would. I haven't really thought about it in greater detail, but I don't know. You know, given everything that's happened, everything that we've heard, I think, like John said, we're agreeing on something, shockingly, that a repair is better than doing a reboot, I think. Like, and I have reason to believe that they won't get rid of Jodie, they won't get rid of Shooty, but they've got to find a way to work around it and just adjust that part, that era somehow. How? I don't know. I'm not going to give them the ideas.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. My TV producer friend, they're worried sick about. You could just not be picked and give your ideas to somebody like BBC Studios. But remember when Doctor Who was good?
Yeah, you gotta be careful what you say.
All right. Leonardo. Ah, that Renaissance sunshine. The paintings went down very well. You remember the Mona Lisa?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Actually, is he about?
Nobody's allowed to see Leonardo.
Really?
He's engaged on important work for Captain Tancredi.
Captain Tancredi?
You know him?
No.
He'll want to question you.
Well, I'll want to question him, so we can both...
He'll be here instantly.
What are you doing here?
I think that is exactly the question I ought to be asking you.
I wish. You know what? I know that is high camp, but my God, I love that.
So good.
Oh, please, can you just make Doctor Who like that? It's got that drama. It's playing with time travel. I mean, that's a clever little gimmick, isn't it? The City of Death. Absolutely. Yeah. So easy for a kid to pick up. Oh, they've got loads of Mona Lisas. They're all fake. Leonardo, a little bit of a touch. We didn't know about whether... Don't tell us Leonardo's gay or straight. You don't have to tell. You don't have to make him Asian. You just say Leonardo. I used to love it. When Doctor Who, you didn't show the actual famous person. You just referred to them. Nowadays, New Who has to show you Queen Elizabeth I having sex with a Zygon. I mean, no, stop it. Queen Bessie was better than that. She was a virgin.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, honestly, please.
City of Death. That is a good one.
Let's get back. Please, let's get back to good Doctor Who. So, what else did we learn? Oh my God, on this invitation to tender. I hope everybody in the thread has got a handrail. The show is going to stay in Cardiff. It is all about the politics. The optics would be horrendous if it moved. So the production companies who want it in Pinewood or one of the Southern studios or the one in Kent that's getting built, that will not fly. It probably means Bad Wolf Studios will rent their studios out. So ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. But,
sweetheart deal.
Yeah, here we go. You see, this is the BBC. or they're thinking of Doctor Who. Already they're going, how does this look? Forget how things look. Do it for the integrity of the program. Listen, they were quite happy shutting studios in Pebble Mill. They were quite happy shutting studios in Newcastle. Suddenly, remember, it hasn't been in Cardiff for 60 years. So get off your high horse. Cardiff has had a good time. Pull the plug now. Was Media City in Salford the last 60 years? So stop this nonsense that suddenly it has to be in the provinces. Newcastle is a province, but you couldn't give us stuff, BBC. So don't you start with this agenda, because you divided the taxpayer, and so just don't start. It doesn't have to be in Cardiff. You are just scared of making a brave decision, because while you're on massive TV executive wages, you cannot be asked to make a decision. It's just outrageous.
It's the little bit where it says it is all about politics. I'm taking it. Your saucy source is talking about what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
just double checking that.
Basically, let's make a very good decision about how to save Doctor Who. Actually, let's not. We want it in Cardiff. We want this. We want that. Before you know it, you haven't given Doctor Who a bloody chance. And that really just appalls me. They are trying to sit on the fence with so many things. Therefore, we will have this half-baked idea, Christian. This is the problem with the BBC.
Well, it always comes back to politics. We always reference the fact that people are afraid to make a choice because of the optics. Even though the decision, a hard decision, may be the right one, they go with whatever will protect the optics of the moment. It's all about what's expedient and what's not. I agree with you. They need to be willing to house it in whatever facility can do the best job for the integrity of the show. But remember, these are bureaucrats. These are people that have no creative investment. It's all about the money. It's all about politics. It's all about connections and upward mobility. And if this happens to be just one of several IPs that are destroying in the process of them pursuing their own personal gain, then that's what they're going to do. A better approach is your salary as a part of the BBC is predicated on the receptivity of the audience based on what you're giving them. So if people are walking away, your salary is cut. That might cause them to reconsider, but that's because then they would have personal stakes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better if another studio provided it,
I know.
Like, because Casualty's filmed there. Do their surely Casualty doesn't take up the entirety of that studio.
No.
So they might have a space that they could rent out. I don't know who it is. So I don't know.
I think they do The Witch and they do Industry down there as well.
Oh, okay. So they might not have space then.
Yeah.
On their sound stages. Okay.
So Bad Wolf screwed up and Bad Wolf win, essentially.
Oh, it's called marking your own homework.
Yeah.
Mark your own homework, and nobody ever loses out. Like this crew who thought 80s TV was rubbish, and as in 80s Doctor Who, and of course, John will agree with this example. How dare you say that?
100%. I mean, I've said that we've said this so many times, haven't we, about the fact that this lot really are arrogant arseholes. I really do dislike these people immensely because I keep saying, I keep saying it, but Andrew Cartmel, who I'm a fan of, I love that era. That was my era. He was working on a shoestring budget. If he had half of what this lot had in budget, he would have done something even better than what he managed to come up with on the small budget that he had. And that is what really annoys me, that these people sit there, smugly talking about the late 80s, but they've destroyed the show and it's now having to be rebuilt badly. 89, anyone could pick it up and move forward with it, and they did with a TV movie.
And nobody loses a job in that. I mean, this is the beauty of television. Nobody loses their job. By the way, The license fee payer is not allowed an opinion. They are allowed to change the brand. They don't care about the ratings. They don't care if their TV is crap. Hello. I mean, what is this? You're a high up TV executive and you don't care whether your product works. I don't get it. Loden, big studio being built in Sunderland. It's only 15 miles from civilization too. Right. Well, that's good. I do know the region does need looking after, because every party in Britain has shafted the Northeast. Everyone, and the BBC have added to that, as has Channel 4. So thank you, all of you, pretending to be gods of TV. You certainly don't know where the bloody Northeast is.
Yeah.
He also said it will have to be made more cheaply, as it will be BBC money. So it's going to be in Cardiff, BBC money. I mean, yay. How do you make the show for much, much less, Brendan, and keep it in Cardiff and use what is there? I mean, so we'll have to use that castle again that's been in lots of Doctor Who. We'll have to use that same... It's almost like back to the old days of Classic Who when it's the same quarry all the time, isn't it? No, I've got no problem with that, by the way, in one respect. It's just, I think I just don't know why it has to be Cardiff. That's my essence there. No, I pressed the wrong button when I teed in, John, and naughty me. Shouldn't have done that.
It's a transmat, a matter transmitter.
Professor, something's activating it.
You're right. Something is beginning to come through.
It's another Dalek.
Excellent.
So,
any moment now. Down! Yes, the dephase must have caused an overload. The two halves tried to coexist at the same point. The resulting reaction destroyed it. Dangerous things, transmats. Yes, the Daleks usually leave an operator on station in case of any malfunctions.
that would be another Dalek.
Stay where you are! Do not move! The stairs!
Oh, sorry.
You are the Doctor! You will be exterminated! Exterminate!
Exterminate! I always do that, but that's all you needed. So Cardiff, nah, not into that. And it gets, I don't know if it, right. I think the bad news keeps coming. The big companies will be ruthless in getting the talent attached. No doubt Saran Jones will be getting approached, and Jack Thorne, the writer and producer. To get the talent and heavyweights involved takes a long time to convince them. And if you're a smaller independent producer, you're almost like waiting your turn. And this is what my source was saying. In the end, money will talk. In the end, all the others who might have a brilliant, innovative idea for Doctor Who, if they don't get that name attached, they're not going to get heard. So in the end, and I asked him about this Saran Jones thing, and he has a strong inkling, a strong feeling that somewhere along the road, you're going to see Saran Jones as the next Doctor. That's what he said to me.
Really? They'd be approaching me then, because a lot of people, when they look at my headshots, say you look like Saran Jones. Yeah.
Right. Well,
there you go.
There you go, Gentleman Jack.
yeah, that's exactly what they say. Well, you've got the Gentleman Jack vibe about you, Saran Jones. Okay. I
mean,
I don't know what to say to that. Why?
Now, I mean, John, if my source is talking informally to the BBC and he says Saran Jones, you get the idea that it could be a gender fluid Doctor, that the pitch is going to be wide open on that. They're not going to go back. It's going to stay wide open.
Well, again, they're not taking it seriously, are they? They're not looking to fix the problem and address it. They're looking to, and this is what I laugh about with the BBC or BBC Studios, is the fact that on so many occasions they have seen the data and they have seen why the show is failing, why it is tanking, and yet they're like a captain that sees an iceberg dead ahead and they just go, hang on a minute, let's not turn the ship, let's go faster. That's what they're like now. They cannot change from that, because it's an ideology thing, and it cannot be the ideology that's causing the problem, because that would break their small minds. That's it.
But it's a brilliant business plan, you see, John, because they can keep doing what they want to do, and even if nobody watches, they never set that bar to be high, so it's okay. They win, they can virtue signal, they can do all their agendas, They can tank the program and nobody watches it, but nobody cares because they made a silly doll and somebody bought it in 99.
But the trouble is, again, there should be people giving them oversight. That should be happening, and basically making them responsible for the decisions they've made, just like I am in my industry. But also, how many times have we seen it of how shows are being tanked? You know, look at Star Trek at the moment. Star Trek is in the toilet. Star Trek Academy, they did the same thing. They've done it through Kurtzman Trek. They're not selling merchandise now. Star Wars, look at Star Wars now. I went in the toy store the other day. There was a Boba Fett action figure that was in the bargain bin. Never in my lifetime did I ever think I would see a Boba Fett action figure in a bargain bin. And that's what they've done. So all these people that are in these positions and thinking, we'll keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and we'll just make money off the merchandise. Well, there's going to be a shock coming, because sooner or later your IP's in the toilet and you're not going to be selling anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, Christian, anything grabbing you? Do you know Saran Jones, by the way, Christian? I know she was the TARDIS, and you'll have seen that.
Yeah. I was just looking up her profile, but in my mind, the idea of going in the direction of a female doctor again, I'm not sure that's going to work. Whitaker was so poorly received and so poorly written for. I think they need to go back to an interpretation of the Doctor that they know has worked in the past in some form. Who that actor would be, I don't know. But they can't bring in something that's so radically afield compared to classic Who that they think it's going to pay off. It's not going to generate the dividends they're anticipating. And as John was saying, they keep thinking, well, if we just keep doing it, somewhere along the line, it's going to make money for them.
I mean, Rachel, I as each slide appears, I'm fascinated how you all respond and how the thread responds, because you can imagine when I got the phone call the other day with the source and he said more like this, I just thought, I can see why he said, lower your expectations, Doctor Who is not going to be saved.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think this would save it. I mean, would Saran Jones even consider doing something like that when I'm her body double? I mean, come on. I could do it. No, seriously though. Like, I always had misgivings about having a female doctor, and my reasoning for that was not because the doctors need to be gender fluid and whatever. It's because we already had established female Time Lords, didn't we?
Yeah.
So why can't we just have one of those come back in the form of Romana, a third Romana, and another Rani, or a new one? There isn't, any reason to swap the Doctor when we've already got the hardcore established canon as it is. Someone posted in the chat just now, Adrian Edmondson as Doctor 16. That would be wild.
Yeah,
that would be chaos.
I still think Matt Ryan would be a good Doctor. That's a pick for me. Matt Ryan, who played Constantine in the US series from about 2014. Very, very good character actor. He would be great.
We've got, I mean, people always do this, don't they? That you get lots of names. Nigel Walker and Zach are saying, however we might be challenged by Saran Jones as the Doctor, she is a great actress.
She is, yes.
That is undoubted. Now, what he said, in terms of co-production and costs ramifications, about 30 or 40 companies might respond to the invitation to tender. Then it'll be whittled down to about 5 companies before talking to the BBC. Now, you see, this is it. So 35 companies might do all the work, all the concept, all the meetings, pulling people together, trying to get the big name, and yet they may not get to the final 5. And we know BBC Studios will be one of them. Yeah. This is what concerns me.
Well,
sorry, John, I'll just show a little bit more. It's the same subject. The people deciding the pitch winner will be looking for something to grab the eye. But you can't say we're going to make it like it was with traditional values, traditional format, traditional Doctor Who. The BBC will just think we can't deal with that type of producer. And this is the problem, John. If you are wanting us, I do, to try and go back to a more classic format, classic Doctor Who, you won't even get your pitch to the final 5 because they are so challenged by that.
Yeah, well, the first thing I would say on that is that just proves again they do not understand Doctor Who at all. They're trying to push it forward and they're using it again as a vehicle to send a message as opposed to make an entertaining show about a Time Lord that travels through time and space. The other thing I would say is what you just described there in the previous slide. That reminds me of me working in the corporate insurance industry where a job position would come up. People would go for it. Several people would be interviewed, but you always knew who was going to get the job right at the beginning because they'd already agreed it, but they had to do the interview process just to save face, to look like they'd done a proper job on it. You know, this is exactly the same, just in a bigger format.
I mean, Christian, honestly, look at this. You see, this is what my source was asking me and talking to me about this, Christian. And he was saying, can you imagine talking to the BBC saying we're going to have 25, 30-minute episodes, we're going to scare the kids, we're going to have a traditional doctor, male, Can you imagine the BBC going, hold on, alert, alert, sirens will go off, and they'll go, we can't have you. But the other issue, Christian, is, can you imagine making a pitch where basically you say the TARDIS randomly lands, the Doctor's asexual, and basically you just repeat the formula from the past. The BBC will go, sorry, we've heard that before. Bye.
Exactly. What they're asking for is a pitch that tells them what they want to hear philosophically, but still sounds original and new. Oh, what an interesting combination. Let's try something that hasn't been tried before, but we're going to do something that we've already tried for the last 10 years and hasn't gone over well at all. What this tells me is by the time they finish the tendering process, if they actually come up with someone, if they actually start production in the next couple of years, you're going to get a slightly less overt version of RTD2, but not by much. And if RTD did not himself kill it, that new failed attempt will definitely put it to rest for good. Because what the BBC will do is say, the problem is obviously not our grand creative ideas. It's just that the show has run out of steam and it doesn't have an audience. And there's no way for us to create it in a way that will generate an audience. What they will not admit is that there's no way for them to generate the show on their terms, according to their personal values, that will yield the results they want. If they do it the way we're suggesting, then they might benefit. But that's the one thing they're not going to hear.
It tells me, Rachel, I don't know about you, but it tells me that if they don't want you to kind of mention the formula that worked with Doctor Who, I wonder if I get a production company together and I get a big name, Rachel, and I just mentioned that we're going to have the first Asian Doctor, if I mentioned something that was new, that's the type of thing the BBC might just bite on. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing about the concept. It's about something that's the first.
Oh yeah, they would. They definitely would bite onto that. I've read a lot of their policies on inclusion and how they go about it, and it becomes more about doing that rather than focusing on what it is actually about. And you do that at the detriment of losing people. Like, diversity is great, but you've got to do it correctly.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, everybody. I was disappointed the other day, and I'm just sharing the news. He also learned that the BBC studios will pitch for it. Oh, well, no shit, Sherlock.
Oh, look who the winner is.
They would have to do it with others. Foreign investments will be needed somewhere along the line. A lot of production companies are burning the midnight oil now, trying to work out, can they get Jack Thorne or get some totemic trophy names of talent, Toby Whitehouse, etc. They will be offering different sweeteners and lunches as writers are schmarmed. So it will be a heavyweight production company who have the finance who will win this. And so yet again, I will say now my conclusion is it will play safe. It will play to all the tick boxes that the BBC seem to delight in.
Now, are you sure they would want to work with Jack Thorne? He has worked with J.K. Rowling.
Oh my God, let's cancel him now. Yeah, I know. This is how stupid it is, isn't it? Paul Richards, they say Doctor Who's about change, which is nonsense because the changes were born out of necessity. Yeah, change when one of the doctors says, I'm clearing off. Yeah, that was the type of change, yeah.
Born out of necessity, but it really did save the show in the long run. Look what it became.
But it didn't necessarily. This is what I mean. They use the word change in such a flippant way. Yes, you changed the actor from William Hartnell to Patrick Troughton, but the show didn't change.
Serious change that needed to be made.
Yes, but they were still Doctor Who.
Yeah.
In fact, the Daleks were the first, monster that the second Doctor played. So it kind of works into that. No global reach for Doctor Who is fine. Oh, you see, this is it, right? So the new Doctor Who era, we don't care about the ratings. It has to be in Cardiff. And I think anybody can play it as long as it's not what we've had before. No global reach anymore. It's a major IP and the BBC is ready to weather low numbers. However, the tender will no doubt focus on getting new generations of fans. The damage to the brand has been over the last 10 years. No one watches it. To bring something back as a big reboot, reaching viewers beyond the core fan base, it would have to be away for a long time. So you can see he was wrapping up a fair few things there. John, I am now really, really starting to get so depressed that I can see why he said, Brendan, you might as well just walk away, really.
Yeah, I mean, certainly by what we've been seeing tonight, if that is borne out to be the case.
Yeah.
I will just carry on and I will just love what came before, classic Who, new Who up to Capaldi, and the Capaldi, and I'll step away as I have. I've got no interest in watching something that I adored be completely altered to the fact that it's just got the title on it and it's not even recognizable to what it once was. Why would I put myself through that? I've got a classic collection I'll enjoy. Proper Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'm getting bleaker as I go through this. I have obviously made these slides, but I'm just getting more depressed, Christine, as I go through them. I mean,
well, it's hard not to be depressed, Brendan. Again, they're talking about wanting to bring in new generations, but here's the catch: it's the preceding generations, the ones who are currently alive, active, and fans, that you need to win back, because these are the people whose passion is fed to the rest of the family. If I have my kids and my grandkids coming over, oh, Doctor Who is on, and my 5-year-old granddaughter's never seen it before, and she's amazed, and because I'm engaged and I'm sharing it with her, now she's building a positive memory of association with it. But that association comes from the generation preceding her. So although they want to bring in new young fans, it's going to be very hard without bringing back the old fans to more or less usher the younger people in. And they're saying, no, we're going to keep you out. We just want you to surrender your children to us. Trust us. We'll be very good with them. I'm not sure I trust the BBC.
Well, we're going to win them. Yeah, the CBBS are going to grab them, apparently. Randy Howell, Classic Who, had 700 episodes minus the 95 missing. We will be okay. We might have to be. So there you go on that one. And it continued. No innovation will occur. Just a big, fat, heavy producer instead of RTD and Bad Wolf. Getting the creative concept right for Doctor Who is going to be really hard, as it's somebody else's IP, so you can't really do too much to it. Running Doctor Who will take over everything. You see, he's a TV producer, my friend, and he's already got, irons in other fires, and he's also preparing other pictures and talking to other channels in 2 countries. So I appreciated when he said this. He said, running Doctor Who will take over everything, like owning a football team. All your other businesses would have to just disappear, All other business you'll have no time for. Bad Wolf might have let RTD get on with it because they were busy with other programs like Industry. Bringing in freelancers, planning ahead to get talent lined up is a major military operation. The big companies with financial muscle can do this quickly. The writing is on the wall. The safe option for the BBC will be a safe production company. So basically, John, we are really just hearing more of the depressing reality of this now.
Yeah, it's the same old club, essentially. That's what we're looking at, which will be probably you'll end up having some RTD acolytes involved with the show as well. So it'll just be going through it, what we've been through the last few years. Message over a story.
Yes. I mean, Rachel, I don't know if you picked up on this, but it's nothing new. I mean, you can see that the more we learn, the more I feel as though it's just money talks. Money talks at both ends. Money,
of course it does.
and then money profit. But the Doctor Who brand is never getting mentioned, really, Rachel.
No, not really. I think, I mean, I had to just read that just to catch up a little bit. But like, I think like the talent lined up, you know, that would be the least of their worries. They've got everything else that's going on behind the scenes that they would have to think about, and all of that is money, money, money. It's just, is it too big for someone to take over now? That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah, it really does depress me. It really does. And this is all because of what RTD did.
Sack Russell T Davis, and I'll come back. The first series was a mess. It was to do with the people who were supposed to make it.
I say this is how we see Davros now, without the facial scarring, without the wheelchair or his this. And I'm
Welcome to the Weakest Link.
very, very proud of the fact that we have. And it's dead. Steady splits in half. 2 doctors.
You are the Weakest Link. Goodbye. Then you are unemployed.
Think of it, wherever society is, that's where you should. Awful lot of people have masturbated over my work and come up to me and tell me.
Sack Russell T Davis, sack Jane Tranter.
Play the Weakest Link. Another way of saying unemployed.
Looks as I mean, the executives won't be unemployed. So, by the way, if you want to know a bit more about my TV producer friend, he just threw this in. This was not. He hasn't sat down and thought about this in that way. He just threw this in just to give you a taste of where he's coming from. He said one idea he is thinking about in his head is I would set it all in World War II, all in the UK. Then you flip the sets around and keep it really cheap. The money should go into developing stories and atmosphere, back to basics, chop the format up, half-hour episodes. Now, we can argue about whether you do World War II or not, but there's the time travel element. But he says, basically, Christian, let's just go cheap. Let's just keep it low budget. Let's be innovative in that way, like we had the Nerva Beacon set in 2 stories.
There's something to be said for going cheaply, because that forces you to write better, write more effective narratives. I've used this comparison before. In the 1960s, there was a whole slew of brilliant stories being written for the small screen. Twilight Zone was among them. And one of the chief criteria was that the writers coming in had been previously writing for radio, talking about doing things on the cheap. They had to make stories, characters that were incredibly compelling, and they had just the right chops to actually create some strong television, and at a time when the budgets were very small compared to today as well. There's nothing wrong with reducing spectacle in order to enhance story. Sometimes the story benefits. The spectacle is just a distraction.
Yeah, I watched Robots of Death Part 1 last night. You're stuck in one place. The robot's idea was clever. Let's face it, you just had the eye color change and just a nice model mask. Or have any viewing figures come out for Tiptoe? I'd be interested to hear how RTD's faring now. I think the first one got a much higher than the second one. I think the second episode got 800,000. The first one was maybe up to 2 million, or was it 1 million and something? I've seen roughly those figures, but it falls in the second one. Or just to answer that question. Continuing on, I have been hearing about the reason why the Christmas special was cancelled. You've seen that. I also found out that the BBC and RTD had fallen out big time. That has done the rounds. You know, my Disney source had said this, that the Disney were trying to give feedback over season 1, and he wasn't taking the calls. And we've discussed that before, and that's where all that came from. The BBC were pulling their hair out too, which is, how do we work this? Because RTD was, but then my BBC source, but we know he's been not in the full loop. That's why it's, I don't mention him as much, to be honest, because I need to be kind of clear on my veracity. But he was saying that it wasn't necessarily RTD's fault. The issue was that Disney wanted the back-to-back, and they wanted it done quite quickly. But I keep thinking, but RTD, you could have employed a whole load of writers who was from Rob Sheehan, people who'd done Doctor Who before, where you weren't holding their hand, and he could have got it done. But because he made sure a lot of the scripts were written by him, he was overexposed. And I think, that's nobody's fault except RTD's. So, in essence, we're in a mess. I am depressed. I am not happy. The sensory is not about trying to be cheerful or down. It's just about telling the truth. And when that truth came through a few days ago, I just thought, I don't know how long I can hang on to this concept of Doctor Who being still there. I mean, John, I know you parked it, but you're not hearing anything tonight, are you, that's saying, come on back, come on back?
No, not at all. Sadly, we're in an era where, as I said, diversity is king. That is the primary focus of the show, the message, as opposed to writing good, tight scripts and having talented actors perform those scripts. Until you get back to that, you're going to have more of the same. And sadly, I think you're going to get to a point where it's been so badly damaged by the time they do realize that's what you need. It will take a lot of work to turn it around and get it back on its feet again.
Ben Willits, who brought back Doctor Who in 2005? We know the answer. It was RTD1. RTD1, you will find on my program, I always give him credit. He did very well with that, but he almost forgot what he did in that era. He shouldn't have repeated it, because 20 years is, life is different. But one thing he should have stuck at the same is, you started with a brand new Doctor. You didn't faff with regeneration. The mistake, Ben, is we had that meta-crisis nonsense. That's only because he wanted to bring Tennant and Tate back. If he decided to say bring Paul McGann back, he'd have been fine. Or just see a new Doctor. Just start with Shooty. But we did that by generation mess. So we had to kind of explain everything. So yes, RTD successfully relaunched Doctor Who, but he didn't do it. He didn't move with the times. And so I'm allowed to say, Ben, he did very well in 2005.
Yeah.
He did very badly in 2023. And I think that's been fair.
Yeah. And I was going to say something here. I actually don't think he was very fair on Shooty Gatwa. Shooty Gatwa, whether you like him or not, right? Just saying that. He didn't get a clean start. He was going to be always compared to David Tennant because they bi-generated or whatever that nonsense was. That's a big problem. He didn't get a clean slate, he didn't get a clean start, and he didn't get a clean finish.
Yeah.
It's like how to snub your actor without doing anything.
Yeah. Now, Ben, I love debate. And so, Christian, you can see here, he's right. The BBC are as committed as putting it out for tender. It's not like 1989, but the 1989ers of us out there know that the Doctor Who wasn't completely cancelled then either. It went out. it didn't go out for tender in such an official way, but we'd all heard these whispers that it might be this company, and in the end, we waited 7 years for the Doctor Who movie, so it can drag.
I would just, if I can quickly say as well, I agree with you. I was just going to say that. I was going to say, I actually think it'll be about the same time as it took to get to the TV movie as it will be that you'll see anything on screen, with, like you said, tender operations underway, getting productions up and running, writing scripts, getting the actors in. I think it could easily be that sort of time period. So I respect what he's saying, but whether you talk about how it was in 89 to now, we're still in the same place. They didn't say cancelled, you know, and that's the key to it. You know, they're never going to say it's cancelled, because you wouldn't. You just, it's out to tender, everybody.
Well, if they
can't really say it's cancelled as well, because it's such a huge IP.
Yeah.
They can't do that.
Yeah.
No.
Christian, you were coming in then as well.
Oh, I think that the situation is untenable at the moment. As he was saying, it gets worse and worse and worse. So that's why we're all in the same predicament we have here. Are any of the four of us still really invested in RTD Who, or a definite continuation of that style to come back next year? No, we're not. For each of us at various points, we've disengaged from the modern incarnation of the show because it is so badly damaged and so atrociously transformed. And unless they're willing to take steps that correct this, we're stuck in that position. But that's where I always come back and say, give it a few years, give the technology, the tools that we say garbage or Boomer Doug putting out with their wonderful work on the screens. And if the software allows people to craft full stories at home, it may be that this will fully fall under the purview of fans, and you're going to get fans crafting incredible stories.
I think this, I can make the analogy of if you're in a long-term relationship or a marriage, when little blemishes happen, you overlook them. Then you get in 7-year itch, and then you get longer. And there might be some other things, and you're going, do you know what? The marriage is getting a little bit stale here, but I'll stick with it, blah, 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 blah. There is a point, though, when you might want to peel off if things don't change. And I feel as though Doctor Who's in this position where the fans have willed it on with a Doctor they don't like, with storylines they don't like, but they're overlooking it for the bigger picture because they're married to this concept. But there is a point when you consider divorce. There is a point when you consider separation. If the marriage, if this concept does not adapt, and this is where I think the BBC really need to take heed. Stop thinking about upsetting the Welsh. Stop worrying about, you know, the tick list agendas and all the rest of it. You really seriously need to say it's all about the story and the character of the Doctor. And it is Doctor Who. And stop making the Doctor so transparently human. Get it back to something.
Do you think they might sell it on?
No, they'll never sell it. They'll never sell it. This is what I mean, Rachel. They want their cake and eat it at the same time. You know, they won't take a risk. It has to be done a certain way. Their friends at BBC Studios will probably get it. You know the story. And yeah, they'll have a big name writer. They'll get something just to kind of hit the headlines, and that's the end of that. So, yeah, marriage. It's a marriage where at some point you do have to say, I think I'm calling it a day. And the more I hear, the more I'm thinking, why am I wedded to this? I don't know why I want to stay wedded to this. There's other things I could spend my time on. Pretty depressing stuff, I have to say. So, as we come to the roundup of that, John, Stargate, your watch-along, is that happening tomorrow?
Yeah, so Sci-Fi Chronicle 79, thank you. We're doing another Stargate SG-1 watch party at 8:30 tomorrow night, 12:30 PST. And we're doing one episode tomorrow because it's Father's Day. Yeah, we're going to enjoy an episode of SG-1, and then everyone's going to go off and do what they need to do. So if you fancy it, come and join us. We watch the episodes in our Discord server all together. We give you a link. They're upscaled, and then we all talk along in the YouTube live chat. There you go.
There you go. And we have Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, back. Chat about it, don't shout about it. Come on, then. What are you up to?
Oh, not a lot, I'm afraid, at the moment. No, there's not been much going on the channel, and that's due to my own sort of personal circumstances, as you may or may not know. It's not really a secret. But my Doctor Who videos, which are released on a Sunday, normally have been restructured and revamped, and they are going out. Well, supposed to be going out. I would say I've got one waiting to be recorded, but I will get around to it at some point. But I just don't know when that's going to be. And the woke news that I normally do in the week is going to be completely restructured, and it's temporarily being pulled for the time being. But do check it out. I have loads of Doctor Who content on that channel anyway. Loads of reviews. Even Jodie Whittaker, if you like Jodie, I do hers as well. So don't leave her out. But yeah, so check it out.
Check it out.
I will let you know when I am back on track.
There you go. Look, whether she's making a show tomorrow or not, she's got a whole back catalogue.
Oh, I have a massive back catalogue.
Rachel has still got more shows than me in number. I have to say. You have loads. You have 600 odd, don't you?
Something like that, yeah.
So thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Enjoy Father's Day tomorrow for those of you who have that in your country at the moment. So everybody, thank you, everybody. See you again. Bye for now.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.